A very good morning to all of you here. I want to say a very warm welcome to NUS Fintech Month. I think this is the finale night and finale morning, actually. So thanks for being so punctual with us here today. So thank you, partners, members of NUS Fintech Society, and of course, the star for today, which is the participants for NUS Fintech Month. So all of you finalists have been working very hard over the past few weeks to come up with innovative and exciting projects in line with NUS Fintech Month's team of Fintech as a Service. My name is Vanessa, and I'm so glad to be back here for the second time. Just a quick throwback to last year's NUS Fintech Month. Last year, we saw a lot of exciting and innovative solutions in the blockchain and Web3 space. And I think some of the judges were also really thrilled to see all the products that the students have came up with as well. And some of them went on to explore further, even after NUS Fintech Month ended. So today, I hope you're as excited as I am to explore all these different presentations we have with us today. Now, before we start, I would like to thank all our judges for taking the time here to evaluate the entries and our mentors for providing valuable feedback to the participants. And of course, a big thank you to all our sponsors for making this event possible. Before we proceed, allow me to introduce the judging panel for today, sitting right in the front row. So for our platinum sponsors, we are extremely honored to have with us Ms. Cynthia Liu, CEO of Panda Bank. Let us put our hands together for Ms. Cynthia, please. We also have with us Ms. Jenny Pan, Business Development Manager of AWS ASEAN Startups, Ms. Emily Bao, Senior Crypto Strategist of Bybit, Mr. Felix Gozali, Senior Quant Trader at Vega Solutions, and Mr. Nikita Kozlov, Backend Team Lead at 1inch, joining us virtually. So let us put our hands together for all these judges for joining us today. Now, right beside them, we have NUS Fintech Society's very own co-president, Jun Xiong, and Director of Machine Learning Department, Cleon, for joining the panel today. Now, thank you all for joining us here. And now let me introduce to you about NUS Fintech Society, especially if you're new to this program or this club. Since its inception in 2018, NUS Fintech Society has been pioneering body in student-led research and development projects. Now, we know that NUS is very progressive in anything innovative and entrepreneurship, and now especially so with fintech as well. So all these projects span across three key tech pillars, namely machine learning, blockchain, and software development. Now, throughout the academic year, the Society works with a wide range of partners and industry leaders with the aim of fostering interest and talent in the space. Now, I myself also co-founded an NUS club, something similar to Fintech Society, and I know the power of it to bring new talents, young talents from year one all the way to master students to enter new career spaces, network, and also push products out into the market even before you graduate. So I hope you treasure this opportunity here at NUS Fintech Month. Now, NUS Fintech Month is the Society's annual flagship event. And this year, we saw a stunning lineup of workshops and discussions led by professionals from the fintech space, as well as a grueling month-long hackathon that ends today. So what a relief, right? And this boasts a prize pool of $37,000 that's going to go into some of your pockets today, right here. Now, I would like to also introduce one of the most important people for this event, and that are our partners and sponsors. Our platinum sponsors are none other than Panda Bank and AWS. Our gold sponsors are Vega Solutions, Bybit, welcome back again for the second time, and 1inch as well, joining us online. Silver sponsors, we have Thought Machine, CoinGecko, PayPal, and Visa. And of course, our community partners, Blockchain Founders Fund, Angel Hack, Singapore FinTech Association, and Tribe Accelerator. We also have our media partners here today with us. Please write more stories about all the amazing students here with us. Chain Debrief and Web3 Meets. Now, to kickstart this event proper, let us now welcome Ms. Cynthia Liu for our opening address, please.
Good morning, everyone. Panda Bank is actually very happy, to be the platinum sponsor for the NUS Fintech Month. The hackathon has really been an eye-opener for us in terms of seeing all the talent pool that we have here. So as an NUS alumnus myself, I'm really very proud to see so much potential in Singapore and in NUS. So to me, everyone here is already a winner. And with this same spirit of the courage and innovation, I believe that the future will be limitless. And Panda Bank will evaluate all these exciting, creative, and fresh ideas and explore commercialization. And of course, we welcome the team to join us as interns or employees to bring all these ideas to life. So maybe I would like to now share a bit about Panda Bank. So in Cambodia, okay, there's actually a population of 16 million, but there are like more than 150 financial institutions. So you can see banking is really very crowded in Cambodia and is highly competitive. So how is Panda Bank going to differentiate ourselves? So Panda Bank is a new age digital bank, with a full banking license in Cambodia. So unlike the digital bank in Singapore, we do have physical branches, we do have physical presence. We are not like limited to only the virtual channels. So what makes us digital? So first is we are building all our core banking products on the blockchain. And all our products are being built on using smart contract as well as APIs. And if regulatory permission, we would like to, provide digital assets to our clients, such as asset tokenization. And of course, the most important of all is that we are very asset-light, and basically we use fintech as a service for most of all our services, the software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and of course, we are a big user of AWS. So Panda Bank is not just an isolated one bank, company in the country. So we actually belongs to the Hui Wang group of companies, and we have our own, fintech payment companies, life insurance, general insurance, as well as a technology company. And this is actually a recent investment. So we really believe in the blockchain, and we have basically partnered, with, a company in Malaysia, to look into R&D for blockchain. So where are you going to find us? As I said just now, we do have a physical presence, just to show you where we look like and how our branches look like. So we have 3 locations. The first is actually in Phnom Penh, BKK, and second also Phnom Penh in Toko, and the third is actually in a coastal town, Sihanoukville. So this is our head office in Phnom Penh. As you can see, it is in an old colonial house. Very nice bungalow. And we have a big corporate office, which we have just shifted in last week. And in Sihanoukville, we actually have a branch in the mall. So join us. If you are someone, looking for international exposure, so you get to travel to a lot of provinces when you are with us. And we are looking for opportunity, to build a bank in a startup environment without having to worry whether there's funding or not, right? So we come from very strong financial backing. And of course, because our chairman is from China, and most of our IT team, is also from China, you will get to use a lot of Chinese. Like if you have not used your Chinese since A-level, then this is like a fantastic opportunity for you to practice. Next slide, please. Okay, so Panda Bank is not just, all work and no play. So if you join us, you get to, like I said, travel to all the provinces. So we have team building activities recently. And then, of course, that in CSR is actually very big in Cambodia, and we do a lot of, we have a lot of CSR activities as well. So you can find us. I'm Cynthia and I have my team here. We are all in our Panda t-shirts, right? So in fact, one of Lei Feng is one of our interns. He's actually doing testing for our to be launched mobile application. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So it has really been an amazing experience, for us. And we hope to chat with all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Cynthia. 我也是要进步我的华语 I will look for the Panda Bank people. So exciting. I think in the last few years, digital banks have been coming up all around Southeast Asia. It's a really good time to be part of this digital banking space as well. So I'm very excited to see what Panda Bank has for us as well. Now, for our next speaker for our opening address, I would like to welcome Ms. Jenny Pan, AWS ASEAN Startup Business Development Manager. Ms. Jenny Pan, please.
Good morning, everyone. And happy Chinese New Year. I think I'm the only person dressed for this occasion today. It's such a pleasure to be here today. And I really want to thank all of you who participated in the hackathon. I think these are one of the most exciting activities you can do in your student life. And we are so thrilled to be a part of that. I don't know if many of you know how AWS came about. I think the short history of it was when Jeff was starting Amazon.com, when he first started selling books, he was working a lot on the back end of delivering, on the cloud and how to make that much more efficient. And when he realized that a lot of customers out there needed that technology, that's when AWS came about and separated and became, a cloud provider. So for us, it was always looking at how do we solve a customer's problem. So that was one of our biggest leadership principles, which is customer obsession, focusing on solving the customer need. And I think in the hackathon, that is something it's really important to learn on how big is the problem and how you're actually addressing the need of that issue. One of the great things that we do at AWS, and we hope that we're doing a good job, is that we are constantly looking to support our builders. And each and every one of you here who have played around with AWS, activated your credits, experimented building on AWS, I think you'll experience a lot of the things that we've built, especially for people in the community. And in the Web3 space, I think in the fintech space, and now in AI/ML, we work with a lot with, we do a lot of things with our customers and developers to understand what it is that you're looking for. And one of the things I wanted to let everyone know is that, AWS, we are kind of chain agnostic. So we want to make sure that you can choose the right chain for you when you build. And like Cynthia was saying, we support a lot of the largest banks and institutions in the world because of security and because of our strong focus on that. So I think as you commercialize your ideas, when you talk to your customers, you'll start to realize security is one of the top things in this area. And that's something that we really do put an effort into. So I'm really excited to be judging today. I hope that we'll see some cool and interesting ideas. I just wanted to let everyone know how much we appreciate being here. A lot of our biggest companies that are on AWS started in their university days, like yourselves as a student. So I think whatever ideas that you have, go with it, keep trying. Even if your first idea fails, your second idea fails, doesn't matter. Just get up, keep going, keep trying. And we will always be happy to support you on AWS. So come and find me if you ever want to chat or look us up online. We have a lot of tools. We have a lot of free certification tools if you're interested to build up your skill set. And we also have 2 of our recruiters outside of the hall today from AWS. If any of you would like to speak with them, I just wanted to make a quick note that we're not actually in the middle of a recruitment cycle. For that, please go see Cynthia because they are actively hiring at the moment. We are not currently in the middle of that cycle, but I would love for you to come and speak with our recruiters to find out about our internship hiring, because we hire at very specific times. And then also for our graduates, how do you get ready for a technical interview? What do we look for in Amazon? What kind of, qualities and skill sets? If you have those questions and you want to speak to someone, it is best to go speak with our recruiters. They are the people who do it day in, day out, so they'll be your best resource. And once again, congratulations, and thank you for having us here today.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny. Now, here comes the important information, which is the hackathon judging information. And this stands between you and the prize pool waiting for you. And of course, opportunities to work with the companies over here to bring your ideas to life. So all the participants will be presenting as well as answering some questions from the judges, and you'll be graded on 5 aspects of the project. First, technology, which encompasses the engineering skill exhibited by the teams. Second, design, which shows off the project's aesthetic and attention to details. Third, business, which is the potential to market the idea to a customer, essentially commercial appeal. Fourth, presentation, which shows how well you as a participant present your ideas. And last but not least, inspiration, which shows how much the idea. Each rubric accounts for 20% of the team's total score and will be graded on a scale of 1 to 5. Now, I hope that's clear. And now, before we proceed to the showcase, brief program outline for today's events. We'll start off with 6 finalist presentations today before a short break, and we'll conclude with another 5 presentations after. And we'll, of course, take a short time for lunch, which is a good time for you to mingle with the recruiters and the sponsors here today as well. And we'll proceed with the prize presentations as well as a closing address. And last but not least, at 4 p.m., we'll have a networking event for those who have RSVP'd to conclude NUS Fintech Month. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into the long-awaited showcase. And first up, we have the first team, Stripe Please Hire. We have team members Justin, Zexuan, Kelvin, Guan Chuan with the product Simplifeed. Let us now welcome Stripe Please Hire, please.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Hi, to all showcases later on, right? So during the presentation, you have 7 minutes. Then at the 1 minute mark, I will be in the second row. I'll actually hold out a piece of paper that says you have 1 minute left. You will also hear a bell. Yeah, and then once you hear the bell twice, that means that's the end of your time. Means to say anything beyond that is you've gone beyond your allocated time. Yep, that's all.
Okay, I guess we'll begin. So good morning to everybody, especially good morning to the judges. We are the team behind Simplifeed, and we are very excited to share with you what we've been working on with all of you here today. So before we begin, let's talk a little bit about finance. Finance is a difficult topic to convey effectively, and we propose two main reasons for this. First, vocabulary. Financial news articles tend to have very complex sentence structures and difficult wording. This makes it harder for the younger and less educated to read and digest financial news articles. Secondly, the length. Financial news articles tend to be lengthy, and people with shorter attention spans or with less time to commit may not be able to fully read and sit down to read and digest financial news articles. This situation is made worse by today, where nowadays, the more vulnerable consumers are making use of financial services. So the younger generation in particular have both the means and the methods to make use of financial services. They have greater spending power, greater economic ability. At the same time, they have more access to a multitude of financial services. Imagine all your crypto exchanges, your stock brokerages as apps at the tip of their fingers. The younger generation may have access to this, but they may not have the knowledge to invest wisely. So what do we propose to this problem? Our solution, we present to you, is Simplifeed. Simplifeed provides a newsfeed of simplified financial articles. These articles are summarized by our API and is brought straight to the point for the users to read and digest, providing financial news to everybody and anybody. Let's go into a short demonstration of our product.
Okay, so this is the main page of our application where you can view the most recent financial news. And under the title of each article card, you can actually view a short preview of the summary. And let's say if I'm interested in this article, I'll just click on it. And now you will see a very long article. It's very long and wordy now, but don't worry, we can simplify it by clicking on the Simplified tab. And now it's much shorter. We have also added like a slider where you can adjust the length of the summarized text according to your preference. Apart from our API, we'll also provide something called a Simplifeed widget, which is an all-in-one customizable extension that developers can use in their own personal application. So what developers need to do is to just copy this code down and paste it into any parts of their HTML file. For demo purposes, we have used Panda Bank's website as an example, and this is how it looks like with the widget embedded on the left side of the website.
So where's the need for a product like Simplifeed? Who can benefit from this? So I think we all know that in this day, finance super apps are no rare sight. And these apps try to include many different things within a single app, including things like educational platforms and educational materials. But commonly, these educational sections are unmaintained or poorly managed by the team. So think about your DBS iBanking app or even investment apps like StashAway. Many of them include informational sections. We think that we can integrate our Simplifeed news feeds into such applications to help supplement the content that they already have. Beyond news articles, Simplifeed can work on other texts as well. So we think we can expand this concept to podcast transcripts, press releases, or even blog posts. So by integrating Simplifeed into their content distribution channels, we think that we can help companies create share information in a more inclusive fashion, where using our summaries and our simplifications of their content, we're able to help them make their content appeal to people with attention issues or people who may not be native speakers of English. By integrating our simplification, we can make their content simple for everybody.
So you may be wondering, how do we monetize this? Let me talk a little bit about our business model. We think there are two very suitable ways to make use of it. Firstly, it'll be providing Simplifeed through simplification as a service. This can be a model, a subscription model, or a pay-per-use method whereby financial institutions can subscribe to our API and send articles that they want to be summarized, receive those articles back, and do whatever they want with the articles. An alternative way would be to provide Simplifeed as a whole package, a financial newsfeed. As you've seen, the widget can be implemented into either a website or maybe even to their own financial super apps. Through that, the banks can make use of the financial news that we provide in any way they deem fit to attract more customers or to do other things with the summaries that we provide. We'll talk a little bit about our technical aspects now.
So what are the competitive advantages of a product like SimplyFeed? So we think SimplyFeed can scale. But hold on, this slide is a bit lengthy. Let's simplify it. So we think that businesses like financial businesses do have a need to inform and educate their users, but it's clearly not the core business line. And it would be a big waste to use their talent to be trying to produce content. And it's much better to use their talent for other things. Instead, we think that by subscribing to SimplyFeed, they only need to spend a low cost in order to integrate our content into their systems. We can also help to use our simplification algorithms to transform their existing content to create concise summaries to help increase reader engagement for them, helping them get a greater mind share of their consumers. The more data and the more financial text that we collect, the better we're able to train our models, and the better we're able to perform this task of simplification and summarization, making us a leader in this field.
So I'll be sharing more about the technical elements of SimplyFeed. So we're using a model called Pegasus for our summarization task. Essentially, it is a state-of-the-art model that was developed by Google Research for summarization. So it leverages its access to a large corpus of data and effective pre-training techniques to provide its state-of-the-art results. So using this natural language processing model as our baseline, and we further fine-tune it on a series of general news articles and financial news articles to improve its performance and boost accuracy scores by almost threefold. So to wrap up, here is a brief overview of SimplyFeed. Essentially, we are just scraping news articles and sending it to our model, which is deployed on AWS Cloud, and then we send the results to our Postgres database. This allows the users to access the original news articles and the summarized news articles through our SimplyFeed app. And yeah, that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. So I saw in the demo you have shortened the length of the news, but I didn't see how you simplify the languages. Because you mentioned the financial terminology is a little bit hard to understand for like say the newbie investors. So how you deal with that?
Yeah, so in our current state, we shorten the articles and we help to simplify, let's say, the sentence structure. But in terms of vocabulary, we haven't implemented, let's say, a replacement with simpler words and whatnot. But I think these are simple additions that we can add to our product as time goes on.
Hi, I just had a question about the AI behind it and the machine learning. When you feed the articles through and you simplify them, what is your feedback on you're actually getting to the right simplification? How do the users, or how do you understand what people are looking at, are actually collecting the most important points?
Do you mean how the model actually works?
Yeah, how do you implement the feedback loop to make the model smarter? Because you're simplifying and you're feeding it lots and lots of articles and you're simplifying them. But what is the kind of, besides the input loop, what is the feedback to help make the model smarter?
Of course, the users, as in after we generate the simplified text, we can always use the text to retrain the model that we are using. I mean, transformers are a very simple model architecture to use. And so I think the difficulty of doing that is not too difficult. And I think it's pretty easily implementable.
So would you have users give you feedback on what they think are the most important points, or if the article collected the most important points? Like, how would you keep kind of sharpening and finessing?
Yeah, so I think at this state, we don't have this feedback loop that you may be speaking of, but I think there's a lot of ways that we could implement this. For example, notice that we show the original text, right? So by doing user analytics of how they read the article, which parts of the article do they stick at while they're reading the article, we can help to create this feedback loop that you're talking about in order to make sure that when we simplify the article, we include these sections that most of the users stay on when they are reading the article, and that helps us to improve our model for future iterations.
Thank you, guys.
I just wanted to ask, is there any specific source you scrape the news articles from? Or is it just in general, like whatever news that you see on Google?
Most of the articles are from Yahoo Finance and Market Watch. So we actually use Beautiful Soup and Selenium to scrape these articles at 15 minutes interval. So every 15 minutes, we will scrape these articles and we will pass them through the summarization model to get the output. Then we'll save all this into the database.
So do you guys keep the stored news articles forever, or do you like cycle it out once it's past a certain date, like once the news is outdated or something?
Because currently right now we are faced with a lot of limitations in terms of we are using the free version of the database, so there's limited storage right now. So we have to delete some of the old articles, but if given more resources and maybe money in the future, we can definitely store them longer so that users can view more articles. Yeah.
So basically you're saying that so it's not dynamic, which means if let's say, for example, I subscribe to your service, it has to be those articles that you have already stored, or it can be, any article that I see in any parts of, in any of the blogs or the website, and then I click simplify, and then you will just do a summary for us.
Yeah, so what you're seeing now in terms of our demo is more of the right side, right? Where we prepare the articles for you, we scrape the articles for you, but we also provide it as a service for simplifying any article or any sort of content that you may want to read. Yeah, so both are provided. So you can do custom content as well.
I see. So basically, if I want to just glance through, let's say, for example, the headlines for the day, then you could just simplify all the articles for every single one, right? Just click on it, then you will just dynamically, simplify the articles that I want to just find out what's happening in the day and everything.
So if let's say you want to use another source, yeah, then you would you could do that, but you would have to integrate it with our existing API.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you use a recommendation system as well for each of your customer to target their feed?
Currently, no. We don't have any sort of a user account system and whatnot. But I think that's a great way we can expand this product, where we recommend them articles that are specific to their interests, and we have a broad range of articles as well. So I think we have a lot of different articles that we can recommend to them.
I just wanted to say that I think this is a great idea, because I know a lot of friends and I know a lot of students who just don't have the time or the brain power to read through paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. And I think I also have people who we just scan the first line, right? We just need the most important points and then we move on to the next article. So I think there's definitely a user pain point for this. So I think you guys have tackled a really great problem. Whether that's for financial or not, it could be, or it could be for everything, right? And I think the interesting thing about this, when you think about your go-to-market, you were talking about the pay-per-use, but I think even as you guys build this out and continue to build it out, I would suggest that you make it free and just let people use it and just feed all the inputs into the model and build in your feedback loop for people to give you responses. Because if you played around with, ChatGPT, it'll ask you if you think the response was okay, or where was it not okay? Do you want another response? And then it'll try to finesse it and do it again, right? So I think when you get more data, that's when your backend and your product will get smarter. So if you let it out in the wild and do it for free, like ChatGPT, and you get people very interested, this will become a new different thing. It might just not be financial services. It could be everything they read, right? So I think there's definitely something in this, and I would say try to open it up and just see where it goes. So I think you guys did a really great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a great start to kickstart our hackathon presentations, especially when we have some media house with us today. So maybe you can speak to the chain debrief people and integrate with them first to get your API started. So next up, we have FinZone, and we have the team members Yongmin, Herlin, and Olive with the product name Wime. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Let us now put our hands together for FinZone.
Okay, hi. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to the judges especially. So we are from FinZone. I'm Alif, Kaylin, and Yongmin. We came all the way from KL yesterday, and really excited to be here. So, why? What is it, right? I want everyone to take a second to imagine. You spend your entire life building up your digital empire, but one day, in the blink of an eye, it's gone. Why? Because we cannot foresee something which is dead. Okay, but I believe everyone here has heard of a digital wallet of MetaMask, right? Pretty familiar with that. So I say to assume that everyone is familiar with the concept of private keys. And if you don't pass along the private keys, it is gone forever. So for those who are not familiar with it, think of a bank. Let's say you die and you can't access your assets forever. Okay, so which is why. Sorry, testing. Okay. Okay, ready? Okay, good. All right. So, bank, right? So if we don't have a mechanism for this, what do? Which is why right now, investors or crypto holders do not have a means to properly have beneficiaries to inherit their assets, which is why we introduced WIME, Wealth Inheritance Made Easy. So some of the reason which this solution does not exist is number one, existing solution lacks security and privacy. Let's say you own millions in crypto. Would you hand over your private keys to anyone? No, I don't believe so. And even if there is a way to do so, current process requires tedious documentation as well as it will require a third-party legal entities. And last but not least is existingly, there is no transparent manner for you to view the distribution of assets, which is why. And also, if you look at the current situation, almost $24 billion worth of cryptocurrency has been lost due to the mismanagement of private keys, right? So let's take a look at what are the solutions that we can introduce via WIME. So WIME is a smart contract powered API suite for anyone like you and I, even crypto millionaires, or even you have thousands in crypto. You can use WIME API to create a will, add beneficiaries, and once at the event of a death, you can trigger your assets transfer. So we also built WIME 1 as a user interface to demonstrate the usage of WIME API. Let's take a look at the current process of digital inheritance. So before an event of a death, a client would probably find a lawyer, and the client would hand over their private keys to the lawyer to be stored in a physical will. But in the will itself, you can view the private keys. And for those who own a MetaMask wallet, you know how important private keys is to us. And after the event of a death, the family member then approaches the lawyer and to examine and retrieve the private key from the will. After that, at the end, is given to the executor to conduct the assets transfer. But here's the problem. You put it in a will, how is it secure? This is how WIME solved this problem. Essentially, it replaces the direct copy of the private key in a physical will with a H3S encryption and deploy it within a smart contract. So how do you do it? After going through a H3S encryption, it will then be split into a salt, which is stored in IPFS, and the random key will be stored in the actual will. And at the event of a death, the family member goes through lawyer again, but then now in the will, there's only the random key. So then we then pass through WIME API to retrieve the salt in order to decrypt the private key itself. And then the smart contract that automate the transfer of assets to the listed beneficiaries. Okay, so why WIME? Let's say any financial institution, why Panda Bank should go with WIME? We care about users, and what do users care about? Three things: privacy, security, and convenience. So we address privacy and security through the usage of IPFS as well as H3S encryption. As for convenience, we have made our user experience as easy as anyone can use it. Okay, let's take a look at the competitive matrix. So the current existing solution we have, okay, over on the far left, we have a core wallet. It's very secure. It's a physical ledger, but is it convenient? No. Another one is online password manager and paper. So usually if you created a MetaMask wallet, you can see that you need paper, right? You store private keys paper. So they are convenient, but are they private? No. So WIME solves this by being private and secure as well as convenient for everyone to use. Now let's take a look at our product demo.
Thank you, Alif. So here shown before you is our WIME system. And first, the user, for them to use the system, they need to connect their wallet to our system WIME. After that, they are able to create a wheel. First, we pre-populate the input here to speed up the process. Here we have the owner wallet address, who is going to transfer their assets to the beneficiaries, and their identity number, and then their private key. Over here, they are able to add their validators as well, who is needed to approve the asset transfer, and then the beneficiary with respective percentage. After submitting, there will be a prompt showing the smart contract has been deployed at the address 5F, blah, blah, with the random key value. This random key value will be used later to activate the wheel. Over here, as you can see, the MetaMask here, the owner MetaMask wallet has been deducted certain amount because the gas fee has been used to deploy the smart contract. After that, let's move on to activate view. If unfortunately there's an event of death, they're able to use identity number and then random key to submit it. Notify validator. Moving on to validate the view, validator, they validate it and then approve the asset transfer. Over here, you can see the status change to 101 or the validator has approved it. Then the asset has been transferred from the owner to the beneficiaries. Thank you.
All right, so this is a tech stack that we use. We use and Nest.js on the back end as well as React on the client side. So the market size that we are targeting is only 1.7 million of cryptocurrency holder currently in Cambodia. This is primarily to adhere to Panda Bank's client base. So the revenue stream, we split into 3 tiers. We have premium, gold, and platinum. So the maximum transferable asset for premium is 2,000, and for gold is 50,000, and for platinum is unlimited. So the break-even analysis here, so from Panda Bank's perspective, you would need around 4 months to reach a break-even point at 34,000. These are our potential key partners, and here's our team. So let's join us to revolutionize digital inheritance as a whole in order to secure the future of our loved ones. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, so I think this is a great idea. But I was wondering, like you had a slide where you showed the security and convenience comparisons, right? In what way is your solution actually more secure or more convenient than, like, for example, traditional methods? Can you explain that again?
Okay, so based on the demo that we showed, essentially the steps is very straightforward. We have 3 tabs, right? So first, to create a will, to activate, to validate, and then to activate. So you eliminate all the intermediary parties, such as all the legal entities in between. It's private in a way that you don't store private keys. You can't really see it in a blockchain ledger itself. So it's stored in a way where it's split up into salt and random key. Yeah. So the only way for you to retrieve the client's private key is by having the salt itself. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but it still requires MetaMask for it to function, right? Does this work with other wallets as well, or do you all integrate it with MetaMask?
Currently, the idea is a decentralized wallet like MetaMask, who doesn't have a centralized entities behind it. So you're not going for like Coinbase wallet, but definitely in the future, we'll definitely integrate with some other wallets as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think this is really a very good idea. Who is actually the validator, in the process? Can it be the bank or it has to be the lawyer?
I see. Okay, so the validators, right? What we had in mind is to have financial institutions, the legal bodies, and one more is probably a related kin. Yeah, so that's the idea. But that would depend on nation to nation in which what are the legal requirements for that. Yeah, but as a baseline, it's financial institution, legal bodies, and a kin.
Because you have an address for the validator, so it's like this is just one, or like in the normal process, let's say in the bank, the next of kin, who is actually maybe the the executor of the will or the administrator of the asset, they will like come to the bank and tell us that our client has passed on. Then based on whatever that's written in the will, we will basically release the funds in the bank to them. So how would this process work? So there is like a stress, some password that the bank will have to key, or someone have to.
Oh no, the entire mechanism eliminates that. So it's all
Okay.
smart contract powered. Okay, so the simplified step is you have a will, and let's say one of your family member has passed on, you activate the will by keying in their ID number.
So
right?
who will keep all the ID number?
Yes.
Key in who?
Yes.
Who the next of kin?
The ID number. The ID
Yeah.
number, it will be stored with the bank class. So let's say the idea is to integrate with existing financial institution like Panda Bank, who has a database of your user, and each of the user will have one or many wallet addresses tied to that.
Okay.
So when you key the IC, then you can get the private
correct.
the public
Get the
address.
address. I see. Okay.
So then after that, you activate by verifying that this person has passed on. Okay, and then the validators are meant to be the one verifying the information. So you validate, okay, this person has passed on, and if all three validated, the smart contract will be deployed and automatically transfer all the assets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
This is actually, I think, a great use case because some of the blockchain companies that I mentor had a very similar use case where they are going through and helping a lawyer sorting through the will of a wallet they're trying to chase because they don't know how much is in the wallet. They knew that he had a wallet. They don't have access to the wallet. They don't know where the funds have gone. And I think the nature of it being, a cold wallet, the way that we store keys and private keys make it harder to access when somebody passes. So I think this is a great idea. And I think having, when you go back to your demo, different inputs, your actual screen of your software, if you go back to the part where you create it and activate, if you look into activate will, I think in the end, there are different people that are validating to what Cynthia was asking. The identity number will be in the will, as in this is the identity, and they will be given the activate key later on only when the will, and you can only activate it at once, right? So I think there is that is the power of making sure the 2 or 3 key people involved activated at that time when it needs to go through.
Yes, that's right.
And I think we're not thinking about dying anytime soon, but this is something quite important to pass on, to protect, or even as a way to protect your own assets. In the case if you've forgotten, there's a way to access it. So there could be dual needs that you look at to open up your usage case. Because I'd always think the more ways you can use your product, the better it is. Because this could be a backup or a protection, like a secondary protection. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've seen fintech companies in US managing trust and will writing and digitalizing that, but this is my first time looking at a smart contract solution for whales with a huge MetaMask wallet. So this is very interesting, especially when we see that that's a huge part of our assets nowadays. Now, the next exciting project is none other than Team Zeddies. We have team members Daniel, Erwin, Joe, and Greg with the product name Panda Pay. Let us put our hands together for Zeddies.
Good morning, everyone. We are Team Daddies, and today we're presenting to you our product, Panda Pay and the Panda Box. Next slide. Settlement is painful. Reconciliation is often a manual and grueling process for retail businesses. Reconciliation is the process of comparing transactions with supporting documents to ensure that there are no financial discrepancies. While this is important, statistics show that 30% of finance teams spend most of their time performing manual reconciliation, up to 59% of finance department's resources being spent on processing transaction-intensive processes. Next slide. So, settlement is a pain point in consignment retailers selling consignment goods. Consignment is a process where a supplier or consignor entrusts a merchant or consignee to sell their product and retains full ownership of their product until the item is sold to the final buyer. This is a business model often used in department stores and specialty stores such as art galleries. Settlement is usually done at the end of the month, and as such, because at the end of the 30-day period, there's a massive number of transactions, and retailers require large teams of accountants to perform manual reconciliation. And this, as a result, one issue that arises is that such high manual intensity often runs the risk of double payment or even no payment to their suppliers. For suppliers, suppliers take a credit risk on their item. Suppliers take the risk that they might not be paid for their products. For merchants with poor credit, the supplier consignment's earnings may commingle with merchant operating costs, running the risk of consignees not being able to pay their consignors for their sold goods. Panda Pay offers a payment solution which leverages the blockchain to address reconciliation and settlement by paying suppliers and stakeholders in real time for their products through smart contracts. To demonstrate one of the many possible use cases of our payment system, we created the Panda Box. Inspired by Korean 24/7 unmanned convenience stores, the Panda Box is an internet control box that can be deployed in any store with internet access to allow anyone to sell their goods on consignment. But before we dive into the technicalities, let's show you how it works through our demonstration video. Okay, welcome everyone. Today we'll be going to show you how easy and convenient it is to use Panda Pay and the Panda Box for your consignment transactions. As you can see, this is an empty Panda Box. And let's say you have a product that you would like to sell. First, you place your item into the box and close it. Next, you'll use your phone camera to scan the QR code on the box. Your QR code will redirect you to a form where you can furnish the details of yourself and your item, which includes a picture of the item. Once you agree to the terms and conditions, the details will be stored on our backend, and the box will automatically lock. The QR webpage will now be updated to show your item details and the methods of payment to buy the item. The webpage will now let's say a buyer is interested in purchasing your item. They'll use their phone camera to scan the QR code on the box. The webpage will show the item details and the various digital payment methods that the buyer can use to purchase the product. Once the transaction is confirmed, our Panda Pay will trigger the smart contract and perform the transaction to pay the various stakeholders in real time. This transaction will then be stored on the Ethereum blockchain which the stakeholders can find using the transaction hash provided to them. Once the payment is complete, a confirmation page returns and the Panda box will automatically unlock, allowing the buyer to claim their products.
So from the video, we hope that the use cases of our Panda Pay and Panda Box are clear. Panda Pay offers a reliable and efficient way to conduct consignment transactions. As payments are executed in real time using self-executing smart contracts, suppliers can see their goods in their department stores, can sell their goods in department stores without having to worry about the risk. This eliminates the need for long and tedious reconciliation processes, saving merchants time and money on manpower costs. Our system allows suppliers to keep track of the supply of the consignor stock, as our smart contract takes in the item details such as item ID, price description, etc. When the transaction is made, these details along with the transaction will be stored on the Ethereum blockchain. Although this is not implemented in our MVP, APIs such as Etherscan will allow consignors to keep track of the supply and demand of their products as well as analysis.
Okay, lastly, the use of Panda tokens as a sole form of currency in transactions also ensures that funds are handled securely and transparently. Panda tokens is an ERC20 token we envision to be issued by Panda Bank that is pegged to the USD, the main form of currency Panda Bank uses. So to be a part of this system, we envision all consignees and consignors to be Panda Bank customers. Panda Bank is to create e-wallets to function as digital twins of their deposit. Panda Bank is the main shareholder of the money supply, will transfer an equal value of Panda tokens into their wallets, so the deposit accounts. Although the backend of this system uses this blockchain, we envision the interface of the banking app to function like a regular iBanking interface. You can integrate like DBS, Payla, etc. Users would not need any knowledge or understanding of Web3 and crypto to be able to use our service.
So with Panda Pay, suppliers are being paid in real time, and this product helps people to so this product also helps the transactions to be a higher level of security and efficient. So with that, these products helps the reconciliation process and also helps the business for suppliers and merchants to be more efficient. So, and with we end our presentation. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the showcase. I just wanted to ask, like, what sets this apart from just a normal non-Web3 service, for example? Like, what makes this like a step above, you know?
So what separates us from these normal like other normal reconciliation methods, because we are providing this reconciliation method, is that this is a fast, transparent, and secure method. So once the customers buys this product, like as seen in the video, this product, it creates a smart contract instantly, which then transfer the fees to the various stakeholder and involved in this product. So then each transaction is recorded on the blockchain, which is transparent and secure. So this allows for transparency, which increase trust between the consignors and consignees.
I think the key differentiating factor is also the fact that the payments are being done in real time, because the fact is that current systems actually usually settlement is usually done at the end of the month, and because it's done at the end of the month, there's a lot of transactions to be processed and as such only being paid at the end of that month. But with our system, all the stakeholders, whether it's the consignors or others, will be able to be paid exactly when the product is sold.
So just now I saw that the seller, he actually put he's going to sell like this photo frame with the panda for $10, but actually the buyer paid $20. So when the smart contract is activated, the seller will get $10 immediately, and then the other $10 will go to the rental or delivery or any other people in the food in the chain, in the supply chain. Is that right?
So the input price for the form would be the price that the consignor would like to sell.
Yeah, correct.
And
I saw
afterwards,
that it's
the
$10.
form also, I guess it also includes the merchant's consignment percentage. This is usually about like maybe a 40% cut. So as such, on the page, it should show the amount that's being sent to the consignor after the $20 is paid. Let's say 60% of $20 is $12. $12 will be paid to the consignor. Yeah.
I think this is a good idea, as you know, especially in Singapore, whereby I don't think any, you can basically, whereby, manpower is expensive. This is like really self-service. So any location can actually be like a sales spot. And of course, I think the seller get paid immediately, which is quite good. I think in Cambodia, sometimes, payment can be like 90 days or even 120 to 180 days on credit terms.
I'm just trying to understand where does the Panda token come into the system? Like if it's back to USD, for example, why doesn't use USDC? What is the value add of using another ERC20 token?
So this payment system was supposed to be built upon the core banking system that Panda Bank is supposed to be building. And so because they're planning on building their core banking system, stuff like deposits and everything on the blockchain. So we envisioned our product to be an extension whereby using potential tokens that are going to be issued by Panda Bank, we are planning for it to be connected to the Panda deposits, because for example, if their core banking system is built on the blockchain, we envision them to be using wallets for their for deposit accounts. So we are planning to have use it as a form of accounting, so that since Panda Bank is the main issuer of the Panda token, they'll be able to have full control of the money supply and be able to use it, to account for the transactions and just have more full control over the entire process and have it such that this backend will be invisible to the user.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to understand how the box and the setup plays into it. So will they always require a physical box to place this into for the transaction? Is that your intention to make that available or for people to set up themselves?
Right, so our presentation, we said that this is one of the many use cases for our payment system. But actually, what we could envision this payment system to be integrated to is actually, for example, like POS point of sale systems in the department stores. Because actually, if we can just take our smart contract and put it within the point of sale system, such that the point of sale system takes in the item name and all these descriptive factors. Is the same as what they're going to be inputting for the Panda box. So as such, actually, a normal point of sale system as well will be able to integrate with our smart contract and be able to use that same level of functionalities.
Right. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think one of the things that would be an interesting use case is in F&B, because the payments for F&B are, very quite, people are paid daily, weekly, your suppliers are paid quite quickly, and this would be a way to help them because they don't have the manpower that a financial services might have that just does processing. So if you expand this outside of the financial sector, you could find a lot of different use cases.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is interesting. It's a payments company, but it's the first hardware that we saw all day today. Now, next up, we have team RTG, and we have team members Yiheng, Mingshen, Junhao, as well as Brandon, and the product name is called Cypher. And I'm really curious to see how this differentiates themselves from Xfers and Wise of the world. So let us now welcome RTG.
Mic test, mic test.
Yes. Good morning, professors, sponsors, and fellow audiences. My name is Ming Sheng, and together with me, we have Brennan, Yiheng, and Jin Hao. Now, before I introduce Cypher to you, let me just start with a simple question. How many of y'all has gone on an overseas studies or exchange program before? Can I have a show of hands? Okay, looks like not a lot of y'all have done so. And for my case, my brother is the one that has gone on a long-term overseas studies for about 2 years in Dublin. And my parents are the one that is sponsoring his education. And monthly, he perform a money remittance to his bank account, overseas bank account. And the amount of times that they have done this is, I can't count with all my fingers and toes combined. It's definitely more than 20. And yeah, this service is not just limited to myself. Everyone around the world use this service. And based on our research, we have found out that everyone around the world has been using this service. And from 2017, at least $400 billion in USD has been remitted all around the world. And this shows that this overseas transfer service is an essential service. So some questions that plague us when we are performing overseas transfer is, where's the face of my money? Why is it so expensive? And why is it taking so long? So first of all, despite engaging banks as a reliable institution to perform this overseas transfer, we are still curious and we want to know which phase of our money is at, even during the whole processing phase. Next, why is it so expensive? It's due to hidden costs and some additional costs imposed on the consumers to cover for the bank's infrastructure. Next, the long processing time differs from bank to bank, but generally in Singapore context, it takes about 1 to 5 business days to complete the whole transaction. And despite all these challenges, we still engage the banks to do the overseas transfer for us. Why? Because there's a lack of efficient international rails. And Cypher provides a solution such that we make use of the Ethereum network and also smart contracts to automate this whole transfer process. Now, Brenda will bring you through the whole live demo of how Cypher works.
Thank you, Ming Sheng. Now I'll be showing you a video demo of our website. So the first segment will be a simulation of the bank procuring our services. Here is whereby an Ethereum wallet and smart contract to facilitate the transfer is being created. We have created 2 different banks as seen in our database, where each bank has a unique Ethereum wallet address and a smart contract address. When a bank engages in our services, we'll automatically airdrop them our custom XFR tokens and some test Ethereum for gas. For the demo, each bank will receive 10,000 XFR tokens to represent USDT. Now we'll be simulating different users from different banks by arbitrarily assigning users to the previously created banks. This is done by the current sign-up process as seen in the video. Here we have 2 distinct users from 2 different banks with their own unique Ethereum wallet addresses. So now we'll be showing you the entire money transfer process from user Michu to user Jinhao. So when Michu hits the transfer button, it will lead him to our gateway where he keys in Jinhao's Ethereum wallet address. When Michu presses next, there'll be an internal check that only whitelisted Ethereum wallet addresses will be allowed to proceed. If Michu manages to proceed, he'll be met with the next page that allows him to transfer the funds to Jinhao. Here, we are assuming that Michu is sending money to Jinhao, who is in America. The final amount to be transferred will be automatically converted into the desired currency as shown. Once the transaction has gone through, Michu will be met with a success page and is able to view transaction details on Etherscan. Now we'll be showing Michu's bank account balance, which will have $10 less, and we will be logging to Jinhao's bank account to show that his bank balance will have $7.62 USD more. As seen on Etherscan, Jinhao's bank reserves will receive the stipulated amount of XFR tokens in terms of USD that was transferred, while Michu's banks will have the same amount deducted from his bank reserves. And now I'll be passing my time to Yi-Heng, who'll be talking about the smart contracts.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Now I'll be breaking down the technical underpinnings of our solution. As user A hits transfer, the money will first be deposited into Bank A's native currency reserves, which triggers a smart contract that deducts the XFR token accordingly from the bank reserves of Bank A. Next, Bank A will have already had approval as well as minted some XFR tokens from the Cypher token contract when they employ our services. Bank A will then deposit the XFR tokens into their own CypherSend smart contract, and the smart contract will next request for approval from the XFR token contract, and when the approval is granted, the tokens will be sent from the contract into user B's Ethereum address. This will then trigger another smart contract, which deposits the XFR tokens into the receiving bank's Cypher receive smart contract and subsequently deposited into Bank B's Cypher reserves. Lastly, Bank B will then release the native currency back to user B personal bank account balance, and that completes the transfer. So, while the underlying mechanism may seem extremely convoluted, this is what the user will see. A transaction so simple and so quick, just like Pay Now or PayLah. Next is the tech stack that we use to construct and build our solution. Now I'll pass the time on to Jinao.
Thank you, Yi-Heng. This is our SWOT analysis. For strengths, Cypher serves as a fintech as a service that provides overseas transfer using blockchain technology. It has low transaction fees as hidden costs are removed. Any banks can implement our API as it is easy to integrate. The weakness that we have for now is that any banks that adopt our solution have to adopt our solution to participate in our network. For opportunities, there's a use of blockchain is growing quickly based on its current growth rate, and engaging our service will make sure that companies stay ahead of their competitors. During recent years, many of us have actually delved into cryptocurrencies trading, in which scams and frauds are prevalent. So this actually breeds mistrust and discourages banks from using our service. For our future improvements, we plan to scale up from a network level 1 into layer 2 using Optimism and Polygon. Next, we'll reduce the number of smart contracts so to reduce the gas fees incurred by consumers. Next. Okay. So to conclude, okay, sending money overseas can be a fast, reliable, and cheap process. So just transfer money overseas now with Cypher. Thank you.
Maybe I'll go first. I just want to know if your Cypher token is like pegged to any like other token or any currency. Like how does it work with like all the different currencies and stuff?
Okay, so initially what we wanted to do and our main concept was to actually deploy this on the mainnet. So we wanted to use some form of stable coin. So in particular, maybe USDT or USDC. But in this case, since we're deploying on the testnet, we named it just Cypher token to simulate the transfers of money transfer essentially from one user to another and to the bank reserves. So Cypher token is actually just a placeholder for now. But if we were to use it, it will be pegged 1-to-1 to USD. So any transfers from the sending bank reserves into the receiving bank's reserves will be in Cypher token that is pegged 1-to-1 by USD.
So where does the actual like currency come in? Like you will hold some fiat for every single like type of currency?
Okay, so what we envision is that banks will hold two kinds of reserves. First is their own native currency reserves. So let's say Singapore, the bank will own a Singapore reserve, like SGD reserves, as well as a Cypher token reserve. So they have these two reserves which we will tap upon. And in order to make a transfer from one bank to another bank, we'll be first depositing the user's money into the bank A's or whatever bank they are in native reserves. And then we will subsequently use a smart contract that will automatically deduct the token reserves of Bank A, which will then go through this process of traveling to user B's Ethereum wallet and lastly to Bank B's Cypher token reserves. And the money that user B receives in their bank account balance at the end of the day is from the native currency reserves of Bank B. So this works in all different countries and yeah, so that's how it works.
But this under the assumption that the user has two bank accounts from both countries, right?
So that's one of the weaknesses that we have actually highlighted. In order for this entire framework to work, we have to require that banks will adopt our solution. So this framework will only work if there are multiple banks adopting our solution. But that is the beauty of it, because with more users and participants onboarding onto our project, we'll be able to build a larger network, and it will be more, with more users, there'll be more capacity in the network as well.
Okay, thank you.
How do you handle the settlement risk?
Sorry?
How do you handle the settlement risk? Because let's say, for example, like FAST, each of the banks actually have to have a deposit, with MAS. And then, if the deposit, falls below, a certain amount, or it runs out, then, sometimes that's why you're not able to send FAST out. So it had happened in Singapore before, right? So in this case, how do you monitor the reserve, with each of the bank to ensure that, there's no failed settlement?
Okay, so what we will require is that banks would occasionally, on a periodic basis, top up their reserves. So the cipher tokens can actually be minted straight from the cipher token contract, right from our contract they've written. So if a bank is running low on their reserves, they can top up their reserves by employing, by minting straight from the cipher token contract through us. So
But
this
how is the settlement being done? So you cannot just like keep minting the token without any reserve backing. We're just like printing more and more money, right? So how do I ensure that every time you print a token, for use, there's actually real, backing behind it, so that when, let's say, for example, Panda Bank sends to, Tiger Bank, and Tiger Bank sends back to Panda Bank, it's like there's no failed settlement, and there's always definitely funds when because you're talking about making the transfers real time credit into the beneficiary account. So how do we ensure the settlement between the banks do not fail?
So ideally, this is one of the part of the regulations that we're trying to iron out and trying to understand. So for now, what we have here is a proof of concept that, if assuming there is no regulatory issues at all, this is something that we could see could work. But still, we are still trying to iron out these details and more finer and more intricate details, like you've mentioned as well.
Okay, but this is really solution if you can, bring it to life.
Okay, thanks.
I'm just wondering, for number 1 and number 10, that's not by smart contract, right? Someone has to trigger it. The banks has to trigger it.
Yes,
manually.
correct. Because the bank reserves, why we can do it for their XFR token reserves is because it's on the blockchain. It's through wallet address, so we can actually interact with it using smart contracts. But we assume that most banks will hold their own native currencies as well, and we need some sort of external event to trigger this smart contract. So point 1, point 10, they are both done by the banks as well after the authorizations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think this is very well thought out. Let's put our hands together for this team. Now, I'm particularly excited for the next presentation because I've spent some time in an insurtech company looking at embedded insurance, looking at blockchain for insurance. So I'm very excited to introduce the next team called TRE. We have Lucas Jingguan as well as Ray Yan with the product name Panda Assurance.
Before we start proper, I'll start off with a fun, casual, lighthearted story. Right. So during the period when we first got our problem statement, I was actually approached by a friend who was a financial agent
right? Because I come from SMU, so the culture there is a little different. Yeah, so casually people will come over and ask me for coffee, chat, and all that. Right? Then after that, I got into a more deeper kind of conversation with him. Then I realized after he worked for a year, he managed to own his own car. Right? Then I asked him a bit more about like, oh, get a rough range of like how much he can make and all that kind of stuff, right? Then I researched a little more about like the Singaporean insurance industry. They were able to think about, if I'm not wrong, about 9% of our total GDP. But as compared, then because I got the problem statement at that time, so I was a little bit curious. Right? How about Cambodia, less developed country? They have insurance, right? And then after when I looked a little bit deeper into it, I realized that for Cambodia, right, insurance is less than 1% of their GDP. When we look a little deeper into it, the main issue that we have is trust. When you buy insurance, the main thing you're looking into is trust. You need trust that your money is going to come back when you're in a dire situation, right? That is why you buy insurance. Yeah. And that is the problem that we are trying to solve with our blockchain structure. Because the main issue that we can solve with blockchain, with Web3 technology, is the trustless nature of it. Because everything is on chain, your transactions are recorded, and there are validators, there are automated systems and all that, right? There is no need for trust, right? That's why we have a completely trustless system with the blockchain technology that we can employ with Panda Insurance. So sorry about it. Yeah. Yes, yeah. So for us to start formally, so sorry about that over the top intro, but we just thought that was a very cool, interesting backstory for us. Yeah. But basically, let's start proper. Our team name is Panda Insurance. What we are is a blockchain insurance model powered by smart contracts. Very good morning. Our name is TRE, the Rocky Explorers. The reason why we want to call ourselves Rocky is because the crypto climate is so rocky that we have to stay cautious at all times, right? So let us introduce the team. Oh, so our technical lead is Lucas. I'm the project manager. I try to assemble the team, try to get the right people to look at this project. Then for Nicole and Lynn, they are actually unable to attend. For Nicole, she's currently having intern commitments, and for Lynn, what he is doing at the current moment, I think because he was in a lecture, right? So he was unable to excuse himself. And for Ray, he was our over here we put full stack engineer, but a little bit like if anything that we do fix urgently, then we call him in the middle of that kind of thing lah. Yeah. So what we are is a 3 platform model. What we do, we have 3 important stakeholders for our model. Basically, for Panda Insurance Craft, what they are is for individual companies or financial institutions, right, to craft the insurance policies and the expected payouts and things of that nature, right? Then for shop insurance, it's for clients for us to browse the products, the different types of insurance available. And then for the validators platform, what they are is actually our team of validators for us. So basically trusted medical officials, let's say for medical insurance, what we have are trusted doctors, trusted doctors in our team, in our pool of medical staff. And then after that, we'll explain a little bit more detail during the Q&A, but basically trusted doctors, let's say for vehicles, validators, right? People to validate that your insurance needs claims and all that. Then after that, and then we have a lot of different scalability options for this. Yeah. Now I'll hand over to Lucas to explain a little bit more in detail about how our different products work.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly explain the vision of this solution. So imagine like being able, when you speed up insurance into smart contract, the client will be able to visit our Panda shop website and shop for an insurance, let's say critical illness. So I want to get myself insured for critical illnesses. So I just deposit the premium into the smart contract, which will get me covered. And in the case where the doctor actually diagnosed that I have cancer, the doctor, which is a validator of our platform, will go on to Panda Validator page and validate that this person indeed has critical illness, has cancer. And then the smart contract will automatically disperse the payout to the client. So it is a seamless process to facilitate the entire insurance processes. And we create trust by having all of the pool of funds gathered in the smart contract. So how do we integrate? Why is there a need to not only just use Web3 technologies? So think of our solution as integration between Web 2 and Web 3. We want to be able to provide, we don't want our clients to be dealing with private keys, dealing with Etherscan, dealing with, going onto the blockchain network to, activate smart contracts. We want to provide a front end system for them to seamlessly be able to interact with the blockchain. That is why our technological stack will be using the Daemon Stack, Mongo, Express, React, and Node for our web UI, where most of our platforms are created, and then a smart contract purely to hold the funds of the insurance. As you can see, we have 4 different microservices to serve the insurance, the client service, the claim service, and also for the validators. And now we'll move on to Ray Yan to present to you our demonstration. Thank you.
Hi. Okay, so here's how the demonstration will work. So this is what the client will be seeing. This is the homepage of Panda Assurance. So this is where the landing page is, where they can look at how our Panda is like. Then here's a shop where they can be able to like shop for the different insurance products as such, and they can view more and learn more about the different products and add to cart. So in this demonstration, we've already added certain items, example, Panda critical illness insurance, and maybe for their vehicular protection. So after that, this is where they'll do a checkout and the purchase will be successful. So let's say there's a claim to be made. They can just go to their profile page itself, and over here, they can see the different products they've bought before. Example, they would like to claim their car protect. So that's where they just claim. And over here, there'll be requests that be sent over to the validator site. But before I move on to the validator site, this is how it will look like on the financial institute stand from Panda Bank stand. This is where you guys will be able to see the different policies that are being bought by the clients and at what quantity and insured by who. So over here in the policy management is what we're going to see. These are the current policies that are made available to the client. So let's say you create a new policy. This is how it works. Let me create one for let's say just for minor injury. Then say hospitalization. Description is just I'll just ask for now injury. Then click next. This is where we put to like have the terms of how much is it a life plan or is it just based on certain terms that you want. Let's say 12. Then this is the premium frequency of how much we pay a different frequency monthly, annually, or one time. So this is a premium amount. And let's say we move on. This is the part where it gets kind of important because let's say injury is like a minor injury. You don't want to have so many okay, let's say you talk about critical illness where there's a lot of risks about it. So this is when you want to have increased the number of validators you want of the hospital site or whichever organization that provides all this information. But let's say just a minor injury where it's just a low risk and so low paying kind of product. This is where we just have one validator. And we click done, and there we have a new policy being created. So finally, when let's say back from when the customers were making the claim, this is where they will be able to validate their products, validate the claim of the customers.
Right, so over here are some solid statistics that we did. So for the total GDP overall, as you can see, for the global spending of insurance, it's about 9.5%, right? Whereas for Cambodia, right, it's only about 1% at the current moment, right? And as we can see, this trend is likely to be similar in other less developed countries. And basically what thing for what we are trying to explore is actually something a little bit it's still a product in testing, but basically what we're trying to explore is integrating machine learning models with blockchain technology to automate the entire process for prediction models to be posted on chain for us to basically make an accurate prediction for a full scale project, for this entire thing to be fully automated, for you to get an accurate quote and all that. So at the starting phase for MVPs and all that, probably you will still require some physical validators, but by incorporating data APIs from trusted sources like data oracles or fraud, right? Basically what you can do is basically make it a fully automated solution. And with that, this is our team.
All right, and my name is Lucas.
My name is Steve.
And I'm Rian. And we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So thanks for your presentation. You overran a bit, but yeah, sure.
Our apologies.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, do you actually implement a smart contract for this? Or is it all just like a mock-up?
No, all of them were okay. For the smart contracts we have created, but it is not interacting with our React stack yet, our main stack yet. But that we do, it is we have spin up a Solidity where you can actually deposit funds into the smart contract.
Okay, because I think in your submission you didn't submit the technical side of things, so I didn't get to judge very clearly on that.
Understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, technological wise, is the website like functional, or is it just like a mock-up?
It is functional. It's a functional React website. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's all the technical questions I had to ask.
Thank you.
Thanks guys for the presentation. I'm just wondering, who is the counterparty of the insurer? Are you going to onboard insurer to sell people insurance, or will it be the protocol? Well, who is underwriting the insurance?
Who's underwriting the insurance? So definitely, this is definitely for the banks themselves to actually spin out their own insurance products. They can work with their own underwriters if they have, but the only difference with our platform is that you are rolling out the insurance on a smart contract rather than managing internally as a company. And you really reduce all the intermediary costs, all the people, your large buildings, and the people you hire. And you should know that insurance agents, they do get a fatty commission, a huge commission. That is why we are trying to disintermediate them.
And I mean, for health insurance, for example, you need to put in some data, right? Details about yourself. Will that be Oracle, or like people put it themselves when they're trying to sign up for the insurance?
So when they are signing up for the insurance, that's up to the bank when they spin up the policy. Whenever a user wants to buy that health, for example, the health policy, they can request the user to send in their medical data. And that's where the validators get involved. They make sure that those data are true and factual according to what is said. And also for the claims itself, let's say the person is diagnosed with cancer and they want to make a claim from the policy, they do the same thing. The validators will come in to verify that indeed, yes, you have cancer. That's why you're entitled to these $100,000 payout.
That's all my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe if there's no other questions, I can give some.
Yeah, so maybe I just make a comment. I think this is a very great idea for automatic payout. But maybe I think it can apply to general insurance. For example, maybe flight delay. So actually you really can get like data that can validate that, and the smart contract can auto trigger if you can link to some the airline system to really show that there's flight delay, or like even other general insurance like payout for maybe like lightning strike, then you can like check whether was there like really a lightning during that period. Yeah, so I think the validator part, I just have a question. Is it like pre-selected, or it can be selected later on? Because insurance is a long-term thingy. You buy, let's say, when you're in your 20s, but your actual payout may be when you are 60s.
So maybe we can go back to the, sorry about that. We can go back. I think this is yeah, this is fine. Yeah. So basically for our sorry, I'm not very used to using a mic. Yeah, I'm a very expressive person, so I like to use my hands to talk and all that. So for the validator, so your question is regarding the validator platform. Yeah. So for the validators platform, actually what we have planned, it is so basically there are different stages for it. Basically for the most MVP, right? The MVP, what it requires physical validators, what it requires basically within the country itself, some trusted medical professionals or like some trusted, let's say for physical hits kind of thing, right? There are people in that industry, right, that can validate that was not how to say, to validate that was not like someone staged that hit to claim false insurance kind of thing, right? Because I think that is a major issue, especially in less developed countries where there is less trust, right? So basically the main purpose of our why we integrate it on chain instead is basically for everything to be transparent, right? Since it's on chain, for everything between basically since all the data, right, is stored on chain. Because okay, when we talk about crypto, there is this very important concept called a zero knowledge proof, right? So basically what zero knowledge proof essentially ensures that you do is that you can only get out the information, because normally, let's say, how do I give a good representation for this? Let's say maybe you send a photo of your IC, right? Then after that, you know that
Maybe I'll clarify a bit. Basically, we would have certain like hospitals to be the provider of the certain product that tag to it. So let's say this certain product like injury would tag to like maybe a smaller hospital, and certain validators would be tagged to it. So different products will have different kind of validators attached to it, and we would to partner with like bigger organizations for different kind of things. It's not just limited to financial, limited to health, not limited to car. It's also just more than just can be flight, can be further than that as well. This is just a concept in mind, and we're just looking to expand towards for further kind of products.
I have a question about when you approach the problem, when you decided to go into insurance and looking at insurance for Cambodia, did you guys look at how insurance was being sold in developing nations?
Okay, because because of the tight timeline, we started this project with the mindset of how we can use existing knowledge of certain things that can, because when we come from a very technical perspective, how we approach the problem is that there are certain, let's say, because I come from a very traditional AI background, I come from a very technical case, right? So AI, there are certain known problems that we need to solve, like let's say a predictor model, recommendation system, things like that. So it was a very high level. So at that timeline of the filter down what we need to work on, and then after that we try to keep it on track. And part of the prototyping so that's basically what are the concepts that will work if we would want to implement it in the long term.
Right.
I got a little bit sidetracked with the question.
Right. I just wanted to understand, when you guys looked at approaching this problem, did you look at how insurance was being sold in developing nations?
Saw that Cambodia was trying to expand their insurance industry. There was some government alignment to try to expand the insurance industry in the next years, to try to match, and I think the rough estimate was about 3 to 4%. 25 to 2030 kind of time scale, or a 5 to 10 kind of time period.
Have you looked at any other countries that are in the similar region and how they grew their insurance or how that digitized?
China, big kind of, and basically get a rough direction of how we can be done. Because I think ultimately we did get this policy statement about, I think, if I'm not wrong, it was about a 2 to 3 countries for us. So we, for Yeah. Right. So basically they have been exposed to okay, so maybe I can give you some background. What I do on the what I do mainly is that I'm kind of like a tech salesman kind of thing. Right. So basically I try to see what companies need and then I help them because I have a team of pretty good I'm pretty confident in their skills in terms of machine learning and all that. Right. So basically they just to maybe like get a rough gauge. They are about our age. They are about
I think, yeah, I think we're getting sidetracked. I think the main thing for this is the focus on the problem statement and the customer is always one of our biggest focus at AWS. And I think technology can only complement the problem we're trying to solve, right? And the reason why I'm looking at and asking about if you have looked at how other countries have done it that are in a similar growth, similar region, similar development, the best thing to learn is from other people's mistakes. So you don't spend the time and make that same mistake again, because in the real world, that is going to be a very costly thing to do. So one of the things that I wanted to share is if you actually looked into developing nations, how they sold insurance, what are some of the bigger projects that had happened around Cambodia or Southeast Asia, and looked at how successfully it was digitized, how it didn't work. I think there could have been some more input for you guys on how digitizing insurance is actually very difficult, because one of the key points that you hit on selling insurance is trust. So in Thailand, when they try to digitize one of the largest insurance companies in Thailand, they digitized all their products. Everything was easily bought on phone. It was very easy to do, but it didn't sell. So they actually went back to a traditional model, and they went back and hired a lot of manpower to do the day-to-day, the face-to-face interaction, because it is still built on trust. So I think when you look at solving a problem with technology, the danger is you're either leapfrogging too early, or you're trying to solve a problem where the problem doesn't exist in that aspect, right? So the trust part, I think, is one part you need to solve. And then the security part is the second point that you're solving. And what you're actually solving now is to make it very secure and that it would automatically and trusted payout. But the issue with that market is that they don't even trust the concept of insurance yet. So there's a lot of difference in the problems that you're actually looking to resolve. So I think that's one of the things that not just for your team, but also when you look at problems, that there is a different nature to what tech can solve.
You understand that this is a very deep societal issue that requires a lot of research, and of course, I don't think that any of us have actually been on site to actually feel how those people that are living in that kind of situation are feeling, right? And that's why that was something that I discussed with us, right? Basically, if let's say we were to have to fly out to actually like get a view of how big this problem is actually on site, and just to get a rough gauge on whether this is because we were currently working on industrial project.
Sorry, our friend's a bit too excited. We will just leave the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
It's a lot of burden for an insurtech company to think about how do you even address the underinsured people. Say example, 1% of people in Indonesia is insured. How do you even increase this addressable market as a small company before even thinking about operating models like smart contracts and how to distribute insurance? work for insurance companies and insurtech companies. So I applaud the courage to tackle such a big problem. Now, next up, I want to introduce Wen Lambo with the team members, Se Kyung, Javin, and Yong Ning. I'm sure with the prize pool, you can't get a Lambo yet, but hopefully very soon for you with your product, Fusion Wallet.
Sorry, give us a second. We test out the audio first.
We're going to first begin with creating an account for James. We've already filled up all the necessary details, and now we're going to go ahead and click on create account. So once that's done, we can see that a new wallet has been created for James, and we're going to James. Okay, so the transaction, you can see that it has indeed been funded.
Testing. Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Javin, and together with Se Kyung and Yong Ning, we'll be presenting our project Fusion Wallet, where we will unleash the power of crypto and fiat with our all-in-one bank account. Over the past few years, of blockchain wallet users skyrocket. That's great news for the industry, but many people are becoming confused because the next big question is, how do I spend it? The truth is, it's not easy to spend crypto, and we've identified two main problems why. Firstly, new users face a steep learning curve when trying to get into the crypto space. Second, merchants are unwilling to accept crypto due to the volatility. With that, we have our problem statement. Banking clients of Panda Bank who are not as digitally savvy lack ways to transact and make use of cryptocurrency. Our solution is Fusion Wallet. Fusion Wallet will be the gateway to the cryptocurrency world for many first-time users by acting as a custodial service for blockchain wallets integrated with bank accounts. Here's a brief rundown of our key features. Our first feature allows users to create a crypto wallet with one click and manage their crypto and fiat balances under one savings account. This serves as an easy on-ramp for users trying to get into the crypto space. Next, we will also be integrating with mainstream payment systems to provide users with a seamless payment experience that handles both fiat and crypto. Merchants can then utilize this QR code to accept payments via crypto. Lastly, users can also utilize their crypto as collateral for loans to obtain fiat for purchases of any big-ticket items that they want. So, without further ado, here's a demo video to help you better understand what we have done.
Welcome to Fusion Wallet's demo. We're going to
Okay, so what happens here
Welcome to
is we
Fusion
have already
Wallet's
filled up
demo.
all the necessary
We're going to
information,
first
and we're
begin
going to
with
click on
creating an account for
create
James.
account.
We've already filled up all the necessary
create
details,
account,
and now we're
crypto
going to
wallet
go
will be
ahead and
instantly
click on
created.
create account. So
So
once
what
that's
happens
done,
is
we can
you see
see
on the
that
screen
a
there, there
new
is
wallet
a
has been
wallet
created
address.
for
So
James,
that is the
and we're going to
user's
go ahead and
unique wallet address.
copy
So this
that
account is
wallet
new,
and
so we're going to
send
go
some
ahead
ETH to
and
it.
fund the account
So
by
hopping
sending
over
some
to
trade
MetaMask, we're
on
going to
MetaMask.
send 0.1 ETH to James. Okay,
So the transaction has been confirmed, and we can see that
and now we'll
the
go
wallet
back
has
to
been
James'
funded.
account and you can see that it has indeed been funded. So let's say James is now
Okay,
going
so
to buy
James is
some
going to
chicken
now go
rice
buy
with his
some
ETH.
chicken rice with
He's
his
going to
ETH.
transfer the ETH
Right?
to Bobby,
So
the chicken rice store
owner is Bobby, and Bobby
Bobby
has
is going
a
to
separate
receive US
merchant
dollars.
account that he's maintaining.
So now
right?
we're going to click on
So he clicks
trade
on the transfer button,
and
scan
click on
QR
scan
code,
QR code,
and this is the merchant's
and
QR
we'll scan
code that he's
Bobby's
about to
QR code.
receive his payments on. So that's
So Bobby's
Bobby's
email
email
is in
address.
here, and we are going
We
to
click
go ahead
next,
and click
and
next.
okay, the chicken
We'll
rice
be
is kind of
transferring
expensive
Bobby
this time.
0.05
ETH.
which will translate to about
Crypto chicken
77
rice.
USD
Yeah, so we
for
hit
Bobby.
transfer.
Okay, so the
So
transfer
the
has been
transfer
made,
has been
and
successfully
we head
made,
over
and
to
we can
Bobby's
also
account and we
verify
see
that
that okay,
Bobby
indeed
has
has
that
received
around
that
77
US
US
dollars.
dollars in USD.
So what happened was that
And that's all for the transfer
me as
feature. We're now
I'll send
moving on
crypto,
to the
but
loans feature.
Bobby, the chicken rice owner got US dollars. So this is
So
the
this is where
loans
users
feature.
are able to
It's a
deposit
separate
ETH
feature
as
from
collateral
transfers. But what we're
and
gonna
take
do
a
is,
loan.
as a user, I can
And
take
we
a
are looking at
loan on
about
my
50%
crypto, right?
loan to
So I'm
value
gonna
ratio.
deposit.
So let's say if the
Let's
user
see,
is going to deposit 0.02 ETH,
0.02
you'll be
ETH
able to receive
as
about
deposit, and I have a
$15 in loan.
50% loan to value
And
ratio.
okay, we're gonna key that in
So if I
and
hit
go ahead and
borrow
click
now,
on confirm.
okay,
Okay,
so the
so the
transaction has been
transaction
made.
was
So
successful.
what happened is that
And if we
I
go
took
back
a
and check
loan
our
using
balance, we can see
0.02
that
ETH,
our ETH
and I've
balance has
received that
went down by
extra
0.02
amount
ETH,
in US
but
dollars.
our US dollar balance has went up by about 15 US dollars. And that's all for the demo today. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the demo video. Now we'll take a deep dive into the individual features, beginning with transfers. So unlike traditional crypto applications, we are providing a one-stop service integrated with the larger banking ecosystem. A friendly user interface that requires no technical knowledge to use. Most importantly, users will be able to manage both fiat and crypto balances with one bank account. Token prices are provided by CoinGecko API, and token swaps are handled by 1inch API. So this is how the seamless payment with QR happens, right? So the user first scans the merchant's QR code, and what happens is that the corresponding amount will be deposited to the merchant immediately by Panda Bank. Then the corresponding amount in ETH will be deducted from the user. So what happens is that there's instant confirmation, and the user is able to spend crypto without exposing the merchant to the volatility of the asset. What's even more exciting is that QR payments are on the rise in Southeast Asia. Recently, it was announced that Singapore, along with 4 other ASEAN countries, will be integrating our nationwide QR payment systems. In Cambodia, we also have Bakong and KHQR. With that, with more users in the region moving towards these payment methods, we'll capitalize on that and drive growth.
Okay, moving on to our next topic, loans. Building on Panda Bank's existing loan service, we will be able to accept crypto as collateral, where users deposit ETH and receive fiat in exchange. This is an over-collateralized loan and is essentially a credit line for users looking to access liquidity without selling their crypto and incurring taxes. This is an overview of our business engine. To drive growth, we will be positioning ourselves as a beginner-friendly crypto banking solution. We are set to acquire the next wave of users entering the crypto space. Services such as loans and staking drive revenue growth as users look for more ways to put their crypto at work. Transaction fee from merchants can also be a source of revenue. Most importantly, we are not a standalone product, but we are actually providing banking as a service. We will be the superstar in Panda Bank's marketplace of API by providing a Web2 experience of Web3. Beyond that, other banks can also access this API and tap on the system, further accelerating growth. With that, we believe that we have the missing piece to mainstream adoption and look forward to growing Fusion Wallet with Panda Bank. Thank you.
So in your solution, does the customers have to transfer all the, you require all the client to transfer their crypto to the bank?
So we understand that the new users might not be crypto natives, right? So in our demo, we show that, oh, we deposited from MetaMask. But of course, users can also purchase fiat directly from the bank. So in a sense, they don't have to manage any external wallets, right? So they can directly sort of invest their fiat with the bank, they get crypto back, and all these are balances within Panda Bank. So no, we do not require external deposits, yes.
Okay.
Just wondering, will the bank have access to your private keys of all the customers? Is that exposed in the database, or how does it work?
Okay, so security is a big concern, right? We don't want to lose our private keys here. So because we are providing a Web2 experience, we are not letting the users sign their own transactions. So in this case, yes, the banks will hold on to the private keys, but they will be safe. they will be they won't, as much as possible, we have keys in cold storage, and then we also won't keep as much as possible, we don't connect them to the internet, right? Of course, if users request to have their own private keys, then they may do so. Yeah, and more importantly, not just about, when it comes to security, it's not just about the keys, right? We also have to do a strict KYC process, because in this space, regulations can be quite strict. So it's quite important to also know our customers and of course keep their keys safe. So those are the two main pillars for security for us.
When you guys looked at Fusion Wallet, are there similar competitors in the market right now that offers the traditional currency and the crypto on one wallet right now?
Okay, so yeah, we did do some research. So there are platforms like that, but what happens is that they are still very much crypto native, right? So the balances might be off chain. You can send them instantly, but you definitely couldn't buy a chicken rice with it. Yeah.
Right.
So our main selling point is the fact that we will be integrating this with the mainstream payment systems, Pay Now, your PayLah, and not just in Singapore, but in the region.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's a good entry point for users to get into crypto for the first time, and not see crypto as sort of scary.
Foreign, yes.
Yeah. I can pay chicken rice with this, just like that. So
Yes,
that's the idea.
definitely. Well, I might have a question for you, Christy. I wanted to ask, from a bank perspective, is this something that is possible? Is that the banks would have to hold the cryptocurrencies as well in their reserve, or what is stopping this from being adapted currently?
So basically in Panda explored, I mean, it's one of those ideas that, is on, is for that we are exploring. So basically for this is we actually view it just as another currency, whether it is a US, Sing dollar or, GBP or Thai baht. It's just another currency that we will need to be able to, get the, the different exchange pairs. Yeah, then you will be able to implement it. It's not possible. Yeah. It's just that, it's regulatory wise, you just need to get, that sorted out.
Yeah.
Got
it. No, because I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Cynthia, but thank you for answering. It's a really
we are exploring. You just treat it as a currency.
correct.
Yeah.
But I see, yeah, because I think it's a great idea, and I'm just trying to understand how come we haven't done it yet. And there was a lot of movement for making the crypto side a lot easier for non-crypto natives, for mainstream users. So I think you guys are definitely on the wave of something that is big. So thank you guys.
You have, business partners that have actually asked us whether we are prepared to take, crypto as secure. Because they are, customers in especially in the Indo-China region, whereby their full job is just doing mining, and they actually get a lot of income from, mining. Yeah.
Hi, so just one clarification question on the technical implementation. Was there any use of smart contracts either in your QR payments or loans functionality? Okay, so there's no smart contracts. So all these are actually just transfers. And we believe that that is an advantage, right? Because smart contracts, yes, you can do more things, but you have also certain risks that come along with it. Yeah, I feel like as a beginning, when you offer like this kind of basic services, let's just keep it simple and keep it safe. Okay, I think that's also. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm guessing you save a lot of gas fees with less smart contracts as well. So expensive nowadays. This is interesting because just yesterday afternoon, we were discussing for my project that I'm in Web3 space as well. Can we use tokens to buy movie tickets and work with entertainment partners? Then we realized for blue chip coins possible, but for small market cap points, like coins, it's going to be really, really challenging. So I'm really excited to see the future of crypto payments and transfers as well. Now we're here in our intermission and we're halfway through the presentations. We have 5 more exciting projects coming up right after the intermission. But meanwhile, feel free to take this time to go for a washroom break, which is on the right after the exit. And for the students over here, you can swing by the AWS booth right outside next to the registration counter as well and have a chat with some of the recruiters at the booth as well. Now, time check now, it's about 12:16 p.m. We are running a bit behind time, so we can come back here about at 12:20 p.m. So that leaves a bit under 5 minutes for a quick toilet and water break. And I can't wait to see the rest of the 5 presentations after this break. Thank you, everybody.
Mathematical framework that's free of politics and human error. Good day, everyone. We are presenting to you our DeFi cross-border payment platform called Panda Borderless. Let's take a look at our agenda today. First of all, let's start with our executive summary. According to Bursa's Malaysia filing in November 2022, Electronic has entered into a letter of intent to collaborate with Panda Bank in order to provide services related to the research and development of blockchain services. That's why our team has come out with an idea, which is to provide a cross-border payment platform called Panda Borderless that is integrated into the Ethereum blockchain. Now, I'd like to pass it on to my teammate to continue with the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much. So after we got the problem, After we got a problem statement from Panda Bank, this is the own problem statement that we have came out after some of our research. Existing cross-border payment platforms are often very time consuming, and it's quite expensive because of the foreign exchange fee, the intermediary charges. And then behind all of this is a system that is of high operational complexity, low security and low transparency. So this is something that we hope to tackle with our solution. Yep. So some of the motivation that we have behind this problem statement is the long queues that we see outside of, City Plaza, Lucky Plaza. These are domestic workers that you often, come from overseas to work in Singapore just so that they can earn a better living and to send money back to their loved ones just so they can have a better living back at home as well. So this is actually me in Cambodia, Phnom Penh, right? I volunteered back in 2019, and I firsthand experienced how tough life there can be and how the extra few dollars for them can go that extra mile for them. So what we want to do at Panda Borderless is to provide a cost-efficient and effective solution for them. Okay, so some of the business analysis in the current cross-border payment landscape, right? According to JP Morgan, these are the emerging mega trends that is bound to disrupt the landscape. So there is an increase in the payments, using technology as well as trying to keep the risk as low as possible. Consumers, on the other hand, also are always looking for more digitalized payment channels, more convenient, cheaper for them. And we can expect this transaction volume to go up to about 156 trillion. Next, the current market size in Singapore. Singapore market size in terms of the remittance market, we are expecting it to balloon up to 12.5 billion by 2030. This is going at a rate of about 4.7%. And as we all know that in Singapore, we have a lot of foreigners coming in. A lot of financial institutions in Singapore are always looking to provide remittance service as part of their offerings to provide the consumers the experience. Right, so we look into the current existing solutions. We have a more traditional one, which is Swift, and a more so-called modern one, which is Ripple. But some of the disadvantages that I want to mention is that Ripple has centralized closed source technology behind them. They use their own token called XRP. And on the other hand, Swift, which is a more traditional platform, some of the disadvantages is that it is slow, expensive, and there is no real-time transaction that you can sort of visualize. Okay, so what our proposed solution is hopefully to be optimized to be right smack in between both of these services. We want to provide transactions that are fast and at the same time very transparent. So just a breakdown of some of the costs. What I want to highlight in this slide is the duration and as well as the cost. So we can see on the more traditional platform, it takes 1 to 4 working days, whereas compared to on Ethereum blockchain, it can take probably about 14 seconds. And on the example for Swift, we can see that it is actually much more expensive compared to the more modern Ethereum blockchain. Now I'll pass my time to Singlap.
Thanks, Fabian. So let's take a look at the illustrative model of the correspondent banking network. Let's imagine that each groups of the banks at each side represent a bank in a country. And for them to make a transaction from one country to another, it needs to go through multiple correspondent banks along the banking chain. And that's what incurs the increase in the cost as well as the time duration required. So next, let's take a look at the banking network with the integrated with the blockchain. Here, we are connecting the banks directly with one another with our blockchain network. Without the repetitive back offices along the banking chain, then we can make our solution faster and cheaper. So here is our solution that could be integrated into the Panda Bank platform. Next. So highlighting a feature of our solution here, first of all, is a smart contract, which is used for the token transaction. Our Panda coin, which is a self-issued ERC token on the Ethereum blockchain. The last but not the least is the Hyperledger Besu, which is the Ethereum enterprise client that is used to deploy the private network. In our solution here, we are making it public to increase the transparency. However, with the use of the bank, there is a need for the decentralized and centralized econs to coexist together. That's why with the use of Hyperledger Besu, not only does it create a public network, but also a permission private network such that only the relevant parties can participate in a particular transaction. And here is our system architecture consisting of 3 layers here. Next. So first layer here we are talking about is the blockchain network, whereby we are having the Panda coin. Next, which is to do the transaction. Then following that is the layer 2, which is a backend API here. So the backend API that I want to highlight here is that every bank account will be tied to a wallet here. Then the backend API that I want to highlight here is the transfer money. So this is the basic of our operations, whereby one SGD is pegged to 100 PDC to handle the decimal points. Then going on, for our transaction here, to preserve liquidity, the bank will issue a PDC to recipient, and the recipient in return will return the PDC back to the bank, so that there is no constant need for the bank to produce a PDC. The last but not least, with our API gateway, we can easily integrate our API payment platform into any user interface. Yeah, so next. So this is our general tech stack. And we are deploying it on the AWS using AWS EC2 instance. Then following that, let's have a short look at our project demo here. So this is our UI here, whereby the user will require to sign in to transact the money. So yeah, so we can sign in. Then to send the money here, we'll need to require the user to select the bank accounts for it to transfer from. And we are for example, in this example, we are transferring 100 MYR to an account that is using USD currency. So we are key in the recipient information, which is the account number. For demo purpose, it's only a 4-digit number. So, okay, before this, Fabian, can you show the MongoDB? So as you can see here, down. So down here, come. So initially we have 1,000 MYR and 995 US. 1,000 MYR and 1,000 USD in the respective account. And after we did the transaction, submit the transaction, and opening the EC2 server, we can see that the transaction is happening behind. So there are 2 transactions that are actually taking place, which is from the bank to the recipient and from the recipient to the bank, in order to return back the PDC that is used as the agent of transmission. So extending a transaction. And at the same time here, after we did the transmission there, after we did the transaction on the Ethereum blockchain here, as we are returning back the Panda coin to the bank, so there is So it preserves a liquidity issue, and at the same time, it allows our transaction to be successfully implemented. And here we can first check the its use on the Goldie testnet here. As you can see, this is a transaction taking place here from the target account to the Panda coin. And as we refer back to our MongoDB, the accounts will reflect the balance accordingly. So let's refresh. So as you can see, the MYR, 100 MYR has been deducted 474 and has been added to the account 6844. So that is all for our presentation. And you could try our link at the QR code as presented in the slide. Thank you.
Does this differ from Ripple? This also a closed loop transfers. Is yours a closed loop transfers as well?
In this implementation, we are making it public for transparency purposes. Yeah.
So how do you do the settlement? So everybody will need to, when you say public, I mean, when I say closed loop means that, each of the participating banks have to connect to your network, right? So it's not interoperable with other network like Ripple or other transfers, right? So it's basically on your on this
Ethereum network.
Yeah, Ethereum network.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So the banks have to, how do you do the settlement? I think I asked the question just now for the other group.
To confirm for your settlement risk, you refer to.
Let's say, for example, I transfer from Panda Bank to Tiger Bank. Then how does Panda Bank and Tiger Bank settle with each other?
So for both so for transaction, the cross-border transaction to take place here, each bank account in the bank, they are required to tie to a wallet. And the wallet here we are using is MetaMask because it's the most popular one. Then for them to transfer, they are required to participate in the Ethereum network. That's why we suggested the use of the Hyperledger Besu, whereby we can create a permission network. Only relevant parties can join the network and do the operations required. Yeah. So, and like what we say just now, the actual transaction that is happening behind is not like from the sender to Panda Bank to recipient. What we are doing behind is actually the Panda Bank will issue the token to the recipient. The recipient return back. So there is the reduce of the back office operations required. So yeah, they are required to participate in the network.
Okay, thank you.
I think you guys did a great job in presenting the technical backend really well. So thank you for that. My questions are always very similar in terms of the execution, or when you do take this to launch. You've shown one of your competitors, Ripple's. Why do you think, or what do you think is inhibiting something like Panda Borderless from starting? Why has no one made this happen yet? Because I think it's a great idea.
So to be honest, we compare between XPR, Ripple, the token that is used in Ripple is called XPR, which is used on a network called which is called Distributed Ledger Network. Sorry, I forgot the name. So the difference here is that they are closed source. You are required to pay for their services. This is one thing. Second of all, it's private, so that it's only tied to their own private network. So the transparency is not that apparent. Then for us, using Ethereum blockchain network, the advantages is that we are able to make this public, and we are not using the SPR, which is because Pentacoin is only used within the network for us to do transfer. However, SPR as a cryptocurrency that exists in the market, then its value can change, can vary. and some more it's private. And for our solution to make it more transparent, and we are deploying it on the public Ethereum network. So that's how we compare with Ripple. Yeah.
Ripple as well, right? So I think the challenge for Panda Bank to like join a network like Ripple is that Ripple does not guarantee that the other participants on the Ripple network will want to work with Panda Bank. So each of us will still have to do the KYC on each of the banks, and we still have to sign bilateral agreement with each of the banks there. So we felt that it's actually too much work for a small bank like us, to have to like sign bilateral with everyone, every bank in the world that is on the Ripple network. So I think for this to work is that, if it's like open and then there's like guaranteed settlement for each of the banks, like what you say via the MetaMask wallet, then, it's possible that, we can, explore this further.
Yeah. Operations behind.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. It's interesting to have this conversation today because last year Ripple was one of the biggest sponsors of this hackathon. And this time they're not here, so we can have a lot of conversations about it. So before I introduce the next team, I would just like to remind the rest of the teams to stick to your time because we are overrunning for the overall program. So when you hear the bell, do follow the instructions and try to wrap up as quickly as possible. The next team is called Digital Thinkers, and we have the team members Junxue, Angus, and Kai Xiang with the project name Startup Validation with Machine Learning. So let us now welcome Digital Thinkers, please.
Yes.
What number is it? I'm gonna replace this with mic test, 1, 2, 3, mic test. I'm gonna use this.
Right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. We are Digital Thinkers. I'm Junxue, Kai Xiang, Simran, and Angus. So our group name is, our project name is Startup Validation with Machine Learning. And what our project does is, as it says, yeah. So let me jump straight into our inspiration and motivation for this project. So startup validation can be very risky due to the high failure rate of startups, right? So let's say your traditional startup valuation methods, like maybe you might know the discounted cash flow method or Berger's method might be quite subjective or time consuming, right? So here our goal is to save time and increase the accuracy and fairness of evaluating startups. Our product here, we are just going to introduce a very convenient app that utilizes machine learning, and so as to evaluate startups. So for individual investors, right, they can access our website very easily. They just input their own parameters of the startup, and then they get the valuation immediately, which we will show in our demo later. For larger investors, such as investment firms or venture capitals, right? We also have an API that you can utilize quite easily. So you just add it into existing code. For example, if the investment firm has their own in-house formula already. So now we will go into explaining our app behind the scenes. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So now I'll give you an overview of our machine learning pipeline. So for ingestion, the data set is taken from CAG. So for preprocessing and cleaning, the columns from the data sets were merged to give the input for modeling using pandas. For modeling and deployment, AWS Clouds is being used to make our machine learning application scalable and production ready to meet high demands of traffic. So now a deep dive into the AWS services used in our machine learning application. So SageMaker is used to develop and test our machine learning code, as well as training the model and deploy machine learning endpoint in the cloud environment. So it also helps to reduce the training cost by up to 90%. And these training jobs are also resilient to interruptions caused by changes in capacity. Then next, S3 is an object cloud storage service used to store the ML model artifacts with a 99.999 up to 11.9% of data durability, allowing any amount of data to be retrieved from any part of the world. So deployment of our application was also made possible using the API gateway and AWS Lambda. So by utilizing AWS Lambda, we were able to create a serverless environment for the endpoint generator using AWS SageMaker. So during our team development on AWS Cloud environment, we also utilized the AWS CloudWatch logs to debug for errors in our AWS cloud services like CloudWatch API gateway. Yeah. So this is our tech stack that we have used for our machine learner application. So now I'll pass on my time to Angus to share more about our machine learning model.
Testing. Right. So when we began with this problem, the research that we did was on a research paper written in 2021 about a similar concept. And from that paper, they realized that the most optimal way to predict such startup valuations would be gradient boosting methods, which is why we decided to go with the XGBoost algorithm. Just a bit more on the algorithm. We realized that the biggest reason why we use this model is because it places a lot of emphasis on outliers. So like data that might be skewed, it might not be fully accurate. It further increases the final error result. So this allows us to more accurately tune our model because we are aware that from the data that we have and generally from startup valuation, there would be many outliers that we would have to consider as well. Yeah, so next.
Right. So these are the features that we input into our machine learning model. We have generally funding rounds and the funding they receive of startups. And then we have also more subjective factors such as the creation date, number of members or founders that will, like if you want to compare startups. And then finally, our result will be the post-money valuation. Yeah.
And now we'll be showing a demo of our app.
Yeah, so for the front end, we actually have a form. The UI is very simple and intuitive. So we have a lot of required fields, and we also have a lot of optional fields. The optional fields don't necessarily need to be filled in, but they can be filled in for more accurate results. So I'll just be filling in some arbitrary data just for the sake of demo. So the required fields are number of funding rounds, the total funding received so far, the number of members, and the number of founders, the max funding received, and also the date that the startup was founded. So once you click submit, it will actually show you the updated startup valuation prediction for the data that you have entered. Yeah. So with that, we've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Right. Hi. So just a question on your implementation on a more technical end, because I know you are using the XGBoost model, right? And it's a class of like boosting models which aim to reduce bias or increase your accuracy, but it may also be prone to overfitting at times. So my question is how, or are there any methods that you use to try to reduce the overfitting of the 14 features in your data set?
For the overfitting, I believe going forward, that is one of the factors that we would like to consider. But for now, I think SageMaker, it allows us to do hyperparameter tuning, for example. So moving forward, we would also want to work on that in order to reduce the overfitting of the data. And we also would like to get better data sets because we got our data set on Kaggle, and it was actually quite limited. There was a lot of missing data also. So in that sense, we'd like to be able to source for better data as well. Yeah, thanks for the question.
Thanks for the answer.
I think you guys have built a very interesting solution to try to solve a very difficult problem. If you are in the startup space, if you have any investors or VCs here, you'll understand that this is always the biggest point of negotiation in the fundraising process. So the valuation is always seen as an art because there's some part science to it, and then some part where, you know, a very good partner will understand, this is a funding partner, will understand how to dial up the weight and the importance of certain things. So for example, I don't know what the machine has learned. You know, if you think that you have 2 members, two founders, does that make your team, the percentage of your chances of success go up, right? When you scrape Crunchbase's number, I don't know what it has learned from looking at 10,000 or 100,000 startups. So I think looking at that and teaching at that would be really interesting. I think the basic model that you have built is definitely the most fundamental ways to evaluate how a startup is performing and to reach the valuation. But it's very funny because you've got pivot points. You know, you have 8 founding members. Everybody knows that startup is going to start fighting very soon. Like that is not going to, it is not going to succeed. But it's just little things like that. And I think when you guys put in and make the model smarter and add in and look at more details, I think it'll boost what you're building. Because I think there's definitely something in this. This is something that is very difficult to do properly. If you can teach the machine how to, if machine learning can detect cancer, machine learning can do valuations, but it's just how do you make that really smart? Because a lot of the things that is also the one of the things that has been very hard to predict are the outliers. And the funny thing about startup is the outliers are the ones that make it, right? So it's how do you then not cut away the outlier versus the generic success? So I think it's a great idea, and I would like to see it develop even more.
Just to add a little bit on this. So actually going forward, one of the things we want to explore is also feature importance analysis, where we actually look at each of the factors here and we use another machine learning model to realize which of these factors contributed the most to the valuation in terms of importance. And we believe this information will be valuable to both investors as well as the startups themselves. And like you mentioned about, for example, the number of founders, how it might affect. So we believe that's the beauty of machine learning, where you can have as many numbers as you want and they might reflect a certain trend. But with the data alone, and if you have enough data to train the model, machine learning would be able to reflect all these intrinsic variables that we might not even think of. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think this is very interesting. We've seen really crazy valuations, especially in the Web3 space in the last few years with 300 million pre-product projects. We've seen Faith exiting at $40 million after so many users on the platform, which is crazy. So I think this will be really interesting to see how it affects the growth stage companies as well. Now we have 3 more presentations until lunchtime. And the next one is called Friday with team members Wei Hearn, Ryan, Ian, and Gerald. And I think this will be really interesting for us to listen to for the last 2 projects. So let us now welcome Friday.
You're ready. All small businesses by 24/7. Friday is a simple API that allows small businesses with their own self-distributed check. Now, using the customer service solve problem by the ever message any small business parallel from Lazada, knowledge of small businesses meeting hours is not a response to workers. Take this example. Last year, I came across this nice non-fat on top. I wanted to get into my girlfriend on okay? So I went to message the seller to ask if the right time. I waited and I waited. 2 days later, I got a response. But it was from a bot and it's not. It's easy enough to just want to automate questions. But pretty soon, you realize that there's so many different kinds of questions that people can ask, and pretty much you spend just as much time on single questions. Friday is a solution to solve. It's the only AI solution that allows you to experience, solve all your customer service needs. When a user messages a small business, our AI immediately comes to respond. We have also built a logistics system to make it that simple for any business to integrate with us. Now, let's go ahead. This is our website. This is the dashboard you will see once you sign up with us. Over here, we have built-in business analytics tool as well as an activity log for you to track customer interaction and monitor customer satisfaction.
Let's take a look at what happens once we integrate our API with you. And this is the part I'm really interested to share with you. So imagine you are a drone company on Amazon. And now we have integrated our API to your Telegram chat. So if I'm a customer, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. Let's try a very vague question. So it's still able to answer, it's still able to tell you the capabilities of the drone. Now, how about a yes or no question? What about if you give it an incomplete sentence? It still works. Our solution is revolutionary. We have our own proprietary software and in-house machine learning design that can be tailor-made to suit any business requirements. Unlike other machine learning models, our AI learns from experience. The more you use it, the better it gets. Our solution is built on the T5 model and has been fine-tuned to power our product. We also use the power of AWS to efficiently process large data sets. Now, think of all the small businesses running on WhatsApp and Telegram. Our service works for them. What about all the businesses on Shopee, Amazon, and Lazada. Our service can integrate seamlessly with them as well. In fact, there's over 1.7 million small businesses on Amazon. This is the future of Friday. We aim to have image recognition technology using OCR and also a recommendation engine to recommend customers to buy items based on their taste and preferences. Lastly, personal assistant. Just like Friday, Iron Man's AI assistant, Friday aims to be the personal assistant for all small businesses. Friday would not have happened without this team. Our team has experience in both technical as well as business side, and we have the capabilities to build the tech needed for Friday. Friday is going to be the way that small businesses transform their customer service. If you were building a small business, you would want customer service to happen on demand. And that's what we are building here at Friday. Thank you.
Hi, all right. So I understand that you decided on using the T5 model for your eventual chatbot. So just want to get a sense of what other models do you explore and how do you eventually decide on T5 in comparison to the other models?
I think like we didn't mention the slides, but in the code, there's actually two things that are happening. There are two different models. So I'll first talk about the main model, which is T5. So in addition to T5, essentially the most common one that is like the most commonly fine-tuned for question answering was BERT. But we found that BERT has good performance in extractive answering, where you lift the sentence directly from the context. And that was not really what we wanted. We wanted to be able to synthesize and give an adequate summary, as we saw in the demo. So that's the T5. And then the second layer is basically in the code, we have a system in place to check whether or not the model thinks that what's the confidence level in its answer. So for that, we came across two approaches. The first is the standard XGBoost approach, and the second is BERT as well. And we use the XGBoost for our server because we found that it's a lot more lightweight and easier to deploy.
Interesting. How do you train the model? Like just now you just talk about zone, right? So, but like the SME or even like banks, we sell many different types of products. So how do you actually train them to be able to answer so specifically?
Yeah, I can say. Okay, so this is just a demo using a drone company. So what's happening is essentially we went to this Amazon listing of a drone, and we just copied and pasted the product description into a text file. Then the model basically just processes the text file. So now let's say you're selling some other product, or you will have to provide the model with any sort of data you think will be relevant. So for example, your product descriptions, your user manuals, your product details, things that you might not want to put on your product listing normally because it might be too long or too ugly. And then in the back end, basically the drone will do all the processing for you, and then it will give out an answer. Yeah, so that's the self-learning aspect as well, because as you add more data, it has a bigger domain to query from, and so it's able to answer better and more questions.
What if, let's say, the bot answer wrongly? Is there a way to correct it?
Okay, so we have the second model, which is the answerability model. So essentially, we sort of evaluate the confidence level the drone has. Right now, the way it works is if the drone is not confident enough, it will simply output, I'm sorry, I'm unable to answer, and then we'll flag it out in the dashboard. So as a human, you have to go and verify. We do understand that the potential for false positive, where the drone thinks it's answerable, but it's actually not answerable, is quite dangerous in customer service. So we've actually put a lot of effort into the answerability model as well. And so like it requires a decent confidence threshold. Yeah. I can show you an example of a question it cannot answer, if that's.
I think maybe we can take that offline.
Okay, sure.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I guess my question would be, always on the market, do you see any competitors right now that are doing something very similar? And how is it that you differentiate yourselves from those competitors with Friday?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good question. There's a lot of talk about like chatbots, and there's a lot of companies doing something similar. But I think if we stop to think of who are they targeting, you have companies like Intercom. They have like API for websites, but I don't think we have seen any company that is working with small businesses. That means powering their WhatsApp, powering their Telegram, and powering their Instagram kind of chats. So who we're targeting are those small businesses who don't have much tech capabilities, but they also want to automate their customer service. Because from experience at Carousel, I realized there's a lot of these small business owners. They spend hours and hours to answer customer service questions. And sometimes when they don't respond to questions, then customers get frustrated and annoyed, and they actually lose out on sales. So I think we saw that this is a very huge market that we can target, and this is the area that we'll be focusing on right now.
Great, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. These guys will be the next open AI. I'm very confident of that. Now, the next two projects are also in the same vein, circling around retail and e-commerce use cases. So the next team will be Blitz with team members Shavinrao, Minka, and Eugene, and their product is called Layer Terminal.
Yes, Mike. Mic test, mic test. Are you looking for a secure, worry-free way to handle your payments? Look no further. Our company specializes in providing advanced payment card security solutions for consumers. We understand the importance of keeping your financial information safe and secure. That's why we've designed our solution to give you peace of mind. With our user-friendly technology, you can feel confident that your transactions are protected against fraud. Learn more about how we can help you today. Imagine you wake up one morning to find that your credit card has been stolen and used without your knowledge. Not only are you facing financial loss, but also the difficulty of restoring your personal identity. It's a nightmare come true.
I can't believe this is happening to me. I just checked my account and thousands of dollars have been charged without my authorization.
Ayo, terrible. Not only financial loss, but you have to restore your personal identity.
Exactly. And even if I manage to do that, there's no guarantee that I will be able to recover the fund back.
It's a harsh reality that identity theft and credit card fraud can happen to anyone. Identity theft is a growing concern that affects millions of people every year. It occurs when someone uses your personal information, such as your credit card information, without your permission. This can lead to a serious financial loss for the cardholder, as well as difficulty in restoring personal identity and recovering stolen funds. And we have a solution to this. Our company offers secure payment services with facial recognition and machine learning to prevent fraud, personalize products, and provide easy integration and support. We decided to focus our efforts on a B2B strategy by targeting businesses as our main customers. We will offer customized solutions to meet their specific needs. Additionally, B2B sales often involve longer sales cycles and larger deals, which can lead to a more predictable and stable revenue stream for our company. Moreover, by targeting businesses, we are able to build strategic partnership and long-term relationship with key players in the industry, which will open up new opportunities and potential for growth in the future.
Are you tired of the hassle and inconvenience of traditional authentication methods, such as keypads? Do you want a faster and more secure way to access your device and accounts? Introducing facial recognition. Convenience. You don't have to worry about physically touching a device. Just simply look at it, you're in. Speed. Say goodbye to entering pins. When you tap your card on our smart system, it retrieves your information and automatically waits for your face, lightning fast. Security. Traditional passwords can easily be stolen or guessed, but with facial recognition, your face is your key. You may be wondering, why not fingerprint? Wear and tear. Fingerprint recognition also may not be suitable for certain situations such as cold, wet, or dirty environments, where fingerprint may not be clearly readable. Personally, I wouldn't want to be touching a place where countless of people have touched. Let's go in depth into our facial recognition system, introducing the VGG16 framework with Facebook Deepface, a powerful deep learning-based facial recognition system trained on 1 million images of data sets. It can accurately identify images with high accuracy. With VGG16 and Deepface, you have the best of both worlds, convenience, speed, and security. Let me now pass you to Minka to explain about additional security features.
Hi, everyone. So I will be talking about the machine learning algorithm. So this is our machine learning. It's called clustering. With the large amount data set from the previous transaction record, the machine learning clustering model will be able to cluster the spending based on the timestamp. As we can see, based on the cluster timestamp, the mean and standard deviation of each cluster are extracted. For instance, when the users spend his lunch at 12 p.m., the system will take the class 3 information. The maximum allowable expenditure will be mean plus 2 times standard deviation. With our machine learning algorithm, the spending behavior of the car owner will be captured. The user may not be allowed to spend more than allowable expenditure. This helps to minimize the risk of overspending by the fraud user.
Now, the question is, are you ready to take your business to the next level? Our service is here to help you just do that. With our advanced technology like facial recognition and machine learning, you'll be able to offer your customers a payment experience like they never had before. And the best part, they'll be able to do it all while feeling safe and secure. Think about it. Happy customers equals happy business. By providing a secure payment option, you'll be able to build trust and loyalty with your customers. And who doesn't love a loyal customer? Plus, you're able to say goodbye to financial losses caused by fraudulent purchases. With our service, you'll be able to sleep better at night knowing your business is protected. But wait, there's more. Our service will give you a competitive edge over other businesses. You'll be able to attract new customers and retain existing ones by providing a safe and secure payment option. Now, who doesn't want that? So, what are you waiting for? Join us and let's make your business a success together. Our company offers secure transactions, which reduces the risk of fraud. We have opportunities to expand our services with facial recognition and AI, but implementing and maintaining our system can be costly. We face challenges with advanced competition and government regulations, but we are committed to improving and expanding our services for our customers. We generate revenue from merchants, banks, and cardholders through monthly maintenance fees, merchant transaction fees, initial development fees. We spend on R&D, equipment, maintenance, insurance, legal fees, marketing, and employee salaries and benefits. As you all know, bringing a new solution to the market is no easy task, but with the right plan and budget, it's definitely achievable. The budget plan includes everything from research and development to a reserve for unforeseen expenses. With this comprehensive plan, my team is confident that we can turn this innovative solution into a reality.
Our details of flow chart. So it includes the process flow of how our solution will prevent the problems of a fraud transactions. And next, Shavin will be demonstrating how our solution works.
So now I'll be spending $10, $5, and verifying my face. As you can see, the transaction is successful. And what's the explanation about the math? There's a $7.89 limit. So let me spend more now, $8. Transaction unsuccessful. So the bank can choose to send a notification to the app where the user can actually override this failed transaction. Thank you.
Right. So on the technical side, for the face recognition part, I understand you use like VGG16, and I think you also export like Deepface. So my question is, did you use these models like wholesale, or do you do any tuning like under the hood?
No, we didn't. At the moment, we are exploring VGG16. We actually explored Facebook Deepface by itself. So yes, 9 layers, but then we shifted to VGG16 to make it even better. We even explored more spaces like OpenCV, then we changed it to SSD to make it even better. So yeah.
Right, thanks. And for my second question is on your transaction analysis part. I understand you use clustering to try to identify fraudulent transactions. So for the clustering, what kind of algorithm do you use? Was it like principal component analysis, or was it like k-means, or what exactly the algorithm is? Yeah.
Okay, so for the clustering part, so basically we can use all kinds of clustering models such as k-means and hierarchical clustering. So the purpose of we using clustering because we can cluster the transaction even when the user is entering, like if we have clustered the data analytics into like $18 at 12 p.m. and they are spending like 50 for consistently for maybe a multiple days, it actually can form it as a cluster and use that for data analytics. So in future, it has the ability to self-learn basically.
So for this particular example on the screen, like you used k-means clustering, or was it hierarchical? Or what exactly do you explore here?
So for this one, we're more like using k-means.
Okay, cool.
We also give an option so the bank can actually choose to scale. So what happens if you don't like this method, you can choose to override it and choose like the max amount is what. Yeah. So fun fact, this is actually used, so I'm from NYP, and whenever I spend in Kofu, this is actually my real data. Yeah. So at this timing slot, I actually spend max $7.89.
Yeah, so with the more data sets implemented, so we can bring the idea of fraudulent banking, which there's a shared database by implement. So it's a way to implement into our solutions.
Okay, thanks for your answers.
Thank you guys for the presentation. I think you guys are working on a really interesting way to prevent fraud, because fraud and security are some of our biggest issues at the moment. When you think about this going to market, do you think that you would sell the devices, the point of sale, or do you think you would sell the technology to a bank and then the bank would have to sell it on to its existing customers?
So we are selling our solutions to merchants and banks. So we are partnering with merchants and banks to use our solution. And how we generate revenue is by them giving us a monthly maintenance fee. And yeah.
I think I don't know if you guys have looked into it, because I know you're focused very much on the technical, but I would say sometimes when you think about the competition in the market, it's always a good idea to step a few steps back to see what else is out there. So one of the things that I would actually propose to think about, if you are interested to take your technology to market, is look into how Square is operating, right? They are a plug-in device. It's a tiny little square. You plug it into your phone, and then that becomes the point of sale. So if you go into a market, a stall, I just need to plug that into my phone. I can scan or tap anyone's card, and then I can transact. Now, if you were able to do that and add on the facial recognition with a phone camera, there's no reason why you can't sell this onto Square or sell this onto, a merchant for an even easier way. So I would say, look at other potential or borderline technologies and see how you can adapt and make that even better. But I really like your ideas.
Sorry, to add on quickly, we actually are looking to scale to e-coms also. So what differentiates from Apple Pay is?
Yeah, so now Apple Pay, you can immediately authorize by just using a Face ID or password. But then this Apple Pay is not available in all sites. So we would like to work with the banks, and when you create your credit card information, an OTP pops up. But usually in Singapore, people usually leave their phone or wallet on the table, and I can easily just use if I'm your friend or what, just thinking, or you don't set password on your phone, you can use your credit card information, just log in and then pay, and the OTP will automatically pop up. But we plan to actually add OTP plus facial recognition, so the person has to be there, so you can confirm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our very last presentation is yet another chatbot for businesses. I'm interested to see how this differentiates from the other presentations that we heard today. Now, this group is called 9i Holdings, with team members Jerry, Matthew, and Keith. So team will take a while to to get ready, but let me just share with you what's happening right after this presentation. It's of course our lunch break and our food is ready for you in a bit. So feel free to take this time to mingle and eat around, clean up after yourself, of course. And thereafter lunch, we'll have our prize presentation and photo taking, which is the moment we've been waiting for all FinTech month. And I'll let you know the time that we can come back here for the prize presentation shortly after this presentation. Now, without further ado, I'll hand my time over to 9i Holdings.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We are 9i Holdings, and we are excited to share with you our application that we made for this FinTech hackathon. I'm Matthew, this is Jerry, and this is Keith, and what we have made is a chatbot, no-code chatbot builder. So we have identified three main problems. The first problem is that there's inefficient use of time when there's a lack of chatbots. So with automated chatbots, businesses will be able to scale their business more easily as they'll be spending more of their time doing useful stuff. Next, there's a lack of easy chatbot builders on the market right now. So the current solutions would be AWS Lex and Google Dialogflow. However, this may be challenging for those those people that are not that technically inclined to deploy and start up the bot. Lastly, there's a lack of data analytics. So there's a missing hub where there's a missing piece in the hub where data is collected and processed, and hence producers are not making full use of the information that's given to them by consumers. Moving on to our business problem. So we identified that there's a market potential and that we can actually exploit it. So currently, there's a 5.7 trillion e-commerce sales in 2020, and there's a 641 market size in 2022. And there's also a 30.3% global chatbot market growth. Hence, businesses that ride on this wave will be able to profit a lot more. Now I'll be passing on my time to Keith. They'll go through our solution.
Thank you, Matthew. So as mentioned in the problems, it serves as a motivation for us to create a no-code, a web application where users can seamlessly create chatbots without the need to code. And our web app will enable the users to deploy their chatbots on the relevant social media business accounts as well. Next. So now you may be wondering how our solution actually fits the theme of this hackathon, which is aiding businesses and consumers in their financial decision making. So on the side of the consumers, we feel that this automated chatbot will enable consumers to be able to get relevant information regarding the products they want to purchase easily, which can enable them in their decision making. On the sides of the business, we feel that the chatbot will be able to gather more data, such as conversation and purchase data from the social media customers. And this data can be utilized by the businesses to gain more insights on their social media consumer behavior. And thus, it will enable them to make more data-driven decisions. Now I'll be passing the time on to Jerry, who will go through the technical aspect of the solution.
All right, thanks, Keith. So for tech stack, we actually use a React front end with a Django backend. And more importantly, we utilize the AWS Lex V2 service, which is basically providing us the natural language processing models that we need to train and build our chatbot. So this ensures that our chatbot is basically using state-of-the-art machine learning models instead of training our own. And so I'll just explain the architecture. So if you look on the right, basically that's our web app where the user will input the behaviors of the chatbot. So how the chatbot is going to work, what it wants you to do. And it will be posted to our backend, which is the Django. And it will talk to the AWS Lex service. And then we will want to try and deploy to the businesses' Instagram and Facebook e-commerce shops. So I'll just give a demo of how the user experience will look like. So, yeah, so this is our website. So the user will sign in. And under bot creation, there'll be a form that is given that the user can input what the bot wants to do. So for brevity's sake, we'll just show you a pre-filled form. So this is a flower shop for say a florist Instagram shop, right? And we can define actions here. So actions are basically a single task that the bot can do for you. So for example, I want to allow people to be able to purchase flowers through my Instagram shop through chat. So
I can put sample triggers, which is basically examples of what a customer might say, right? So can I buy some flowers? And what we need from the customer now is information like what kind of flowers, how many flowers in a bouquet, and also like where do you want it to deliver. These are all the fields that you can put in. And then once we submit it, right, it'll be posted to our back end. And when we go to manage bot, we can see the new bot that's being created. And what this build bot will actually post a request to the AWS Lex v2 API, which will actually train the model here. And we actually already built the model. Okay, so oh my God. So I accidentally stopped sharing. Yeah, okay, so it's over. How do I move this? Sorry. Yeah, so if you look at our businesses, our company's AWS console, you see that there's a bot here that's been created. And what we've done, we made a client just to see how it works. So this client will talk to the bot that we just created. So for example, I'll say, yeah, sure. I'll say I want to buy a bouquet, right? And just like a typo. And of course, the natural language model can actually pick up on the typo. And also the word bouquet wasn't even in the training sample that we gave, because they were able to associate this word with the word flowers. So here I can say some roses. And then the user can just input and talk to this bot and say, I want to send it to NUS. And then I can confirm it. So yes, thanks. And of course, if I type something completely nonsensical, the bot can also detect that I'm talking nonsense. Yeah. So this is what we will try to integrate into the this is our product basically. So for our next steps, what we want to do is that we want to go forward with our app integrations. So currently we're actually awaiting approval from the Facebook Business API. They have a manual review team before they allow us to basically take over someone's like Instagram business account and then like make conversations on behalf of them. So, and then after that, we also want to do like an analytics platform. So with the use of our chatbots, we have a lot of access to customer data, like conversation data, and we think that this can be used to be to get some kind of insights to help drive like marketing decisions for companies. Yep. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Right, thanks for the presentation. I understand that you're using pre-trained models from like AWS Lex v2. So just understand, what was your decision-making process behind choosing such like pre-packaged models rather than training your own with the absence of like customizability, for example?
Yeah, so the idea is that first of all, the models that are given by Lex is going to be like very likely far better than anything you can come up with your own. Second of all is that there's a huge lack of availability of training data that we have. We don't have access to like tons of conversations, like billions of lines of conversation that Amazon will have to train their model. And then also that Lex is actually able to, from you see just now, we can provide a bit of sample training data, and then it can tag like for example, I'll give you a sentence like, can I buy some flowers, or and stuff like that, and then it can be able to tag this intent to like some similar phrases that a customer would like, for example, the bouquet one. So under normal circumstances, I don't think we'll be able to train something as complex as that. Yeah.
Thank you guys for the presentation. I think it's a really great idea when we see like the other presentation, when you're able to take something that is more technical and bring it to make it easier for people that are not natives or as familiar to be able to deploy from our AWS directly. And I think that is really for us, just understanding the consumer, the people who will use it, because they want to do it, but they will not be able to go on AWS and then set up this for themselves. So you providing that service to make it easier for them, they will give you money for that. So I think it's in that sense, this is a business idea and it's a proper business idea. So I congratulate you guys on doing that. And I think it's really interesting, the example and the demo that you did. I think as people who have received flowers, we need to, well, we also need to go back to the machine and teach them that flowers, you always have to ask what color roses you want. Because that was the one fundamental question. I was like, I didn't ask, you want red roses, or white roses, or pink? So we need to go back to that machine. But I think one of the things that when you guys do want to do this, I think you can very easily deploy it and try to sell it for very cheap, because if you're looking at SME sellers, try this for $1 a month and see how many people will sign up. You'll be shocked at the amount of people that would be like, oh, I'll pay $1 for this, and then just see how you go and then make it smarter and make it, the UI UX even more intuitive. But I think it's a really great idea.
Thank you.
So I just have one question just now. For the training of the model is you are unlike the other bots whereby we need to give a lot of data. So the customers just need to like key in all the trigger questions. Is that how you get your data to learn? I mean, get your machine to learn?
Yes, so the model is already trained by Amazon. And so what we need is that we need them to define like an action. So like the bot needs to be able to order flowers for you, right? So, but the action, I need something to trigger it. So our user can give like examples of what someone might say to trigger that.
So let's say in a Panda Bank, a lot of customers will ask, what's your 1-year FD rate?
Yes, so you just put that, what's your, that sentence into that action, and then it will be, what the Lex model will do is that it will look for, if someone enters a similar query, it will be detected, and then you'll go into that action. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that's all the questions we have for this team. Thank you so much, 9i Holdings. And with that, we have concluded all the presentations. There have been a whole month long of hard work throughout NUS Fintech Month. I think it was a huge, splendid display of innovation and ingenuity. And I think a huge congratulations to all the teams who have made it this far as well. And I really hope to see your ideas commercialized into the market after this Fintech Month. Now it's lunchtime and I'm pretty sure everyone's looking forward to it. And the buffet is right outside the door waiting for you to tuck in. And time check now is 1:36 p.m. So we'll be back here at 3 p.m. for our prize presentation. So we'll leave this time for the judges to deliberate as well as to enjoy your lunch as well. So without further ado, I would like to invite everybody to enjoy your lunch break from now till 3 p.m. Do come back timely at 3 p.m. as we would like to start the prize presentation on time. And for those who have RSVP'd for the networking session at 4 p.m., you can look forward to a photo booth, bubble tea, and other refreshment as well. So enjoy your lunch break right outside. Do keep the area clean, and I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. sharp. Welcome back. How are you guys feeling after the buffet lunch? I hope you guys are still with me and awake and not crashing for all the bihun and rice. Sorry for the delay. We were trying to figure out how we can give you more privileges for each and every finalist amongst ourselves today. But before I announce the prize presentation, let us put our hands together again for all the hard work that you guys have put into for the month-long hackathon. All right, I think this is the moment we were waiting for, and I'll present our different prizes that we have from all the different sponsors, and I'll invite the whole team to come up for a photo taking session and also to receive your reward from our partners. Now, for the first prize that we have is the Gold Sponsor Prizes. And we have different categories based on different metrics that the judges have assessed based on. The first one is most reliable solution, and this is partly presented by Bybit, and this will be presented by Emily Bao, Senior Crypto Strategist. Can we now invite Miss Emily Bao on stage, please? So the winner for the most reliable solution presented by Bybit is Panza Borderless by Taco Hackies. Congratulations. Coming up. Congratulations to the both of you. And we now have a photo taking session with Emily. Do we have the background for the photos? Okay. Okay, it's coming. Give us 1 second. Amazing. Congratulations. Our first prize winner for today. Thank you, Emily. And thank you, Takoyakis. Next up, we have the most inclusive solution presented by Vega Solutions. And this is important, and this has been a big topic in the last few years. And a lot of projects now have to take inclusivity into consideration when it comes to serving the audience as well. Now, this will be presented by Felix Gozali, Senior Quant Trader of Vega Solutions. Mr. Felix, please. The winner for most inclusive solution presented by Vega Solutions is Wime by FinZone. Congratulations. Coming up for your photo taking session. Okay, look at the photographer for a great shot. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Felix. Now, third, we have the next award, which is the most analytics-driven solution presented by 1inch and presented by Jun Xiong on behalf of the company who joined us on Zoom earlier on. Now, the winner for most analytics-driven solution is Fusion Wallet by Wen Lambo. Congratulations. Jun Xiong looks like he can join the team already. All right, thank you, team. Okay, next, the moment we've been waiting for, it will be the top 3 prizes that will be presented by both Jenny and Cynthia. But before that, let me congratulate the rest of the finalists. Even if you haven't made it to the top 3 position, you will receive a $1,000 cash prize each for each team. And this was just added on during the break, is each finalist across this hackathon, which means every individual will receive a grant of 1,000 AWS credits sponsored by none other than AWS. And thank you, Ms. Jenny. So you can look forward to that to build your solution even after this hackathon. Thank you so much. Awesome. So $1,000 cash prize and AWS credits as well. So that's amazing. Okay, may I now welcome Ms. Jenny and Cynthia up on stage to present the top 3 prizes. I really enjoyed the Q&A session a lot, you know, when they're asking a lot of questions and also giving a lot of feedback that really helped us think about commercial perspective that we may not have the exposure to think about when we're in school. So I think this has been a really useful session for us to all learn as well. So thank you so much, Ms. Cynthia and Jenny. Now, second runner-up, walking away with, let's see, $4,000. Wow. Second runner-up goes to Wime by FinZone. Congratulations. Amazing, inclusive, and also really impressive. Congratulations to the three of you. Amazing. Congratulations once again. Next up, we have the first runner-up, walking away with a hefty $8,000 of cash prize. First runner-up goes to... First runner-up goes to none other than Friday. Coming up. Woo! Congratulations. Thank you. What a victorious moment right here. Oh, last but not least, how are you guys feeling, guys? I don't know why I'm not participating in this, but I'm also nervous. I don't know how I'm feeling right now. Okay, first place, we have $12,000 of cash prize, which is crazy. And I want to thank all our partners and sponsors once again for supporting this event and making this happen for throughout NUS Fintech Month. Okay, who do you think will be the overall champion of this hackathon? All right, we got some media coverage walking in over here as well. This is the prize moment you need to cover on Chain Debrief. Okay, the champion for NUS Fintech Hackathon is Wallet by Wen Lambo. Woo! Let's go! Congratulations to Wen Lambo and to the rest of the team. Thank you so much for all your hard work and participation for throughout January. And thank you so much for being such good sport in this hackathon. Okay, big smile, okay? I can see them jittering in excitement holding that check already. Now you know who to find for to trade supper later. Congratulations, guys, and congratulations to the rest of you. And thank you so much, Miss Cynthia and Miss Jenny, for helping us throughout this hackathon, and Miss NUS Fintech Month as well. Okay, sorry, before that, let us take a group photo with all the winners. I'm so sorry, Miss Cynthia, Miss Jenny, can we have you back on stage? My apologies. Can we have a photo taking session with the top 3 teams? We have Friday, FinZone, as well as Wen Lambo up on stage for a group shot before we take one with the rest of the finalists. So can I invite you back on stage right now for a group shot? FinZone as well as Friday as well. Bring along your checks, of course. Oh, yes, okay. In the meantime, before they finish taking this photo, we're taking one with all the audience members. So can I trouble all the ones sitting at the 2 columns over here to find a seat somewhere in the middle where we can take a group photo with everybody. So on the left and on the right, for those of you over here, please find some seats in the middle column so that we can take a group photo facing the crowd in a few moments' time. So all those people on both sides, do find some empty seats. I think there are some seats in the second row. So the last few rows as well. We just want to make sure that everyone's captured, including the NUS Fintech Society members. Congratulations to all three teams. Now we'll take a group photo with all the supporters, judges, as well as the teams. So the photographer will come up on stage with me here to take a group photo and for everybody to find their seat in the middle column so that you'll be in frame. This will be a big moment, so something to be proud of and something to remember. Okay, can I trouble the team to find some seats in the middle? Of course, you can hold your check, but try not to block the other team members as well. Okay, so if you're try to for the teams over here, fill up the first few rows. We want the first few rows to be as full as possible. But don't sit at the the last two chairs on each row. We want to see all the handsome and beautiful faces here. You taking photo? Try to move in. For people in the last row, Charming, that group, could you guys come in front as well? I think the last group might be hard to see, that last row. Yeah, so last row, try to move, find some seat in the fifth row or the fourth row. Come on in. This is not just for LinkedIn, but this is for like media coverage as well, okay? Press loves NUS stuff. I see. Okay, so try to fill up the empty holes in row number four. Row number 4, try to fill out the empty holes. Wait. Okay, we're still waiting for a few people to settle down. Our NUS Fintech Society members who have been making this possible as well. Okay, come in, come in. Okay, hold up the check slightly. Hold up the check slightly without covering your face. Yes, that's right. That's right. The rest of our teams, one check only. Okay.
Okay, everybody, please look here. Please look here. And on the count of 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, one more time. On the count of 3, 2, 1.
All right, some actions. Okay, thumbs up. Wow. Yeah. NUS Fintech Month has ended. It's a grand finale. Woo! Okay. Okay. You need anything? Okay. Thank you so much to the NUS Fintech Society members, the photographer, the AV, everybody for making this event possible as well. Now, before I wrap up, I want to invite Jun Xiang once again to deliver the closing address for NUS Fintech Month 2023. And if you guys don't know him yet, he is the co-president of NUS Fintech Society, who has pretty much worked through December, pretty much when we were all on holidays, having vacation, suntan, like, you know, going on ski trips. They are the ones working till midnight, making this event possible. So take it away, Jun Xiang.
Yep. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much for coming down to our event. And once again, huge congratulations to all our finalist teams. I mean, you guys have worked through the month and, you know, really hacked and really worked on your projects. And, you know, we come up with 10 or 11 amazing solutions, and all of you deserve to be, you know, first place winners. But of course, unfortunately, that's not possible. Yeah, but please do continue developing your ideas. And I mean, as AWS is sponsoring $1,000 for all of you, we would really love to see what you guys have in plan in the future. And yeah, and don't stop developing and, you know, continue building your ideas, refining it, maybe even make a startup out of it. Yeah, so this is our 3rd iteration of NUS Fintech Month. And, you know, we are so happy to run it again this year, and this year fully physically. And during this event, we ran over 20 workshops with speakers from all over Singapore and all sorts of fintech blockchain companies, as well as ML companies. And we are so thankful to have all of you guys like come down to the events, participate in the workshops, and of course join us for like networking events and conversations around fintech. And you know, as Fintech Society, we a society of over 200 members, and we really love to share fintech and spread fintech to the whole of Greater NUS, right? Yeah. So looking forward to seeing all of you around. And for next year, we do have upcoming events that we plan throughout the following year. So some events that you can look forward to that Fintech Society, along with Fintech Labs, is hosting is that we are looking at joint coffee sessions with industry partners. So come down to our Fintech Labs room and can have a chat with like industry partners on all sorts of fintech related topics. Secondly, we're also launching a podcast series for in the coming months, featuring industry professionals as well. And we're working together very closely with NUS Fintech Labs to make this a reality. And of course, we would like to invite all of our sponsors to come down and maybe join us in podcasts in the future. And of course, our communications teams will reach out to you all for that. Yeah. So once again, a huge thanks to all our sponsors for making this event possible and for sponsoring all your huge prize pools. And of course, a huge thanks to all our participants for joining this event and really building and showing us your innovative new ideas. So once again, thanks so much for everyone for coming down, and of course our organizing team for organizing this event. And I hope you can come again next year, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can build in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chun Seong. And thank you to the NUS Fintech Society people for making this possible as well. Now, congratulations once again to all the winners and participants of NUS Fintech Month 2023 Hackathon. And before we close this month, we would like to thank the partners, including AWS, Pentabank, Bybit, Vega Solutions, 1inch, Thought Machine, Chain Debrief, Tribe, Angel Hack, as well as Visa for supporting this event throughout January. Thank you so much. Now, as we close the curtains for NUS Fintech Month, we invite all the participants of our networking event who has RSVP'd or have participated in this month's event to stay in this venue or at the foyer for the next segment, which is happening from now all the way till 7 p.m. as you can mingle with some of the partners and recruiters for potential career opportunities for all of you right here. So before that, I want to say thank you for having me in this event and thank you for being such a good sport at today's hackathon. My name is Vanessa and I'll see you next time.